Homecoming on Grimes Hill, Wagner and Monmouth on NEC Front Row. Happy Saturday night under the lights. Staten Island, New York City. It's time for Wagner Seahawks football alongside Stu Johnson. My name is Keith Rad. The taste of victory is on the tongues of the Seahawks. They took down LIU here last weekend for their first victory of the season, and everybody loves winning. It breeds that confidence, hoping to build on that against a tough opponent today.
First conference game of the season, and you come out with a victory, and you get your quarterback on track. Christian Alexander-Stephens was the NEC Offensive Player of the Week for his efforts against LIU Brooklyn. Completed 75% of his passes, threw for 267 yards, and accounted for 3 touchdowns. Threw for 1, ran for 2, and didn't turn the ball over. Grad transfer from FIU, came here with heavy expectations, working with some new teammates, a different offense this year, only 3 starters back. Wagner taking a little bit of time to hit its stride, but hopeful that last week's performance sets the stage for a strong second half, beginning with a tough opponent tonight in Monmouth.
Monmouth Hawks who come from West Long Branch, former NEC buddies. This is the biggest and longest tenured head-to-head in Monmouth school history. This is the 25th all-time meeting. Monmouth used to be in the NEC. They went down to the Big South Conference, even though they are the northernmost team in a very southern Mid-East Atlantic conference. This is a high-flying team, and you talked about quarterbacks. It's their quarterback, Kenji Bahar, preseason conference Offensive Player of the Year, and that's not just a title, he's living that.
Well, he's a fifth-year senior, so you're really not going to find many quarterbacks in all of college football with more experience than Kenji Bahar. Tonight will be his 39th game as a quarterback at the college level, so that's experience you really don't find often, and he's had a terrific season so far, as you alluded to. He's completed 62% of his passes. He's thrown for 7 touchdowns. He's averaging 270 yards passing. And really, he's a guy who can make a lot of different throws. Very strong arm. He's athletic. He can extend plays within the pocket. 2 weeks ago in the last game Monmouth played, 393 yards passing against a 19th-ranked Montana team on the road. That was the 4th most passing yards in Monmouth school history. So the Wagner secondary will have its hands full tonight. And if this game is anything like last year's meeting, it should be a high-scoring affair.
Yeah, last year was absolutely phenomenal down in Monmouth. Monmouth comes away with a 54-47 victory. It turns out that was the most points the Seahawks have ever scored with Jason Hotaling as their head coach. And this team last year in Wagner, not a high-flying, sling-the-ball type offense. Their quarterbacks combined for 6 touchdowns. Luke Massey and TJ Linta, unbelievable last year.
It really was, and the game came down to the final moments. Monmouth drove the length of the field and put in the winning score with 1:14 left, and it really almost came down to who had the ball last. Monmouth's now won the last 5 of these meetings, so 25 matchups between these two teams, including tonight's game. It very close in the head-to-head all time. Wagner and Monmouth separated by only 45 miles. And at the moment, two teams that have really played competitive football at the moment. Monmouth's won 14 of the 24 meetings.
First matchup between these two teams on Grimes Hill since 2013. And what a buzz in the air tonight. Homecoming for Wagner. Monmouth has elected to receive 2-2 out of the Big South. Wagner 1-4. Dropped some tough games against very tough opponents. Most recently beat LIU here last week, but lost to FAU, lost at Stony Brook. Have not faced Monmouth here in quite a while. Eric Sylvester boots it away from the 35-yard line. And we are underway. Matt Castronova from inside his own 10, tripped up. Brought down before the 20-yard line. And that is where this Monmouth Hawks Big South Conference offense will come to life. Talked about him. Kenji Bahar, preseason Offensive Player of the Year in the Big South. But, of course, he's great. The pieces around him are even better. We'll get into those guys as this game goes on. First and 10 from the 20. or the 5th year. Gives it off to Pete Guerrero. Darts up the right side for a couple. Guerrero's the starting back. Also a preseason first-team All-Big South running back, the junior. He is kind of the dominant running back in the conference. He's almost the Ryan Fultz that Wagner knows over the years in its own conference.
7th in active rushing yards in the FCS. He's got over 2,400 of them coming into this game. So a lot of experience in that backfield for Monmouth.
Pistol formation, 2nd down and 8. Bahar throws to the right. Green, the intended receiver, absolutely pulverized by Darryl Malone. Sets up a 3rd down. Ouch.
That Wagner secondary knows that it's going to be tested tonight. Some very speedy receivers on the outside for Monmouth. Once they make the catch, you want to make a stick just like that. And that was a nice hit and jarred the ball loose as well.
That'll get the crowd going on homecoming night. An out-of-conference game for Wagner and a matchup that over the last few years has certainly favored Monmouth. Tall task on a big night. This one for Guerrero. He's met by Santoni Graham. Stopped on 3rd down.
Great job of eye discipline there by Santoni Graham because they had the jet action going with Lonnie Moore, the 4th, who's a big-time weapon. And they didn't give the ball to him. They instead ran it inside, and the Wagner linebacking core was not fooled. They were there for the stop and a big 3-and-out on the first series of the game.
Jeremiah Lowrick back to receive the punt for Wagner from his own 35. Seahawks wearing black unis, Monmouth in white. 3-and-out forced by the Seahawks defense. Always highly touted with the number of individual players that just get the job done. Spiraling punt. Lowrick tracks it to the 30-yard line. Lets it die right there. And the Seahawks will come to play on the offensive side with Christian Alexander-Stephens. He talked about how great he was against LIU last week. The guy who was going to receive that punt, Jeremiah Lowrick, how many times was he targeted last week? 11. He gets 11 catches last week, but Christian Alexander-Stephens found 7 different receivers. That's dangerous for Monmouth to come in here and try to defend.
Certainly it was important to get the passing game going. Wagner, traditionally a team that's run more, but you've got a quarterback like this, and they're going to throw the ball around more than we've seen in the past under Jason Hotelli.
Ika Guebu in the backfield. Alexander-Stephens, first play from scrimmage. Throw to the near side for DeCombre. DeCombre to the 45. Pummeled out of bounds by Davis Smith. Good first play for the Seahawks on homecoming night.
Davis Smith got his first start as a collegiate football player, the freshman, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, against Montana. Gave a lot of cushion to DeCombre there. Great hands catch and that ball thrown a little bit away from him, and then good toughness to get 10 yards after the catch and get the first down.
One thing that has been impressive about Alexander-Stephens is that it seems game by game he's meshing with a bunch of fairly new characters, especially new for him, being a transfer from FIU. That first play from scrimmage went for 15 yards. Christian looks right, throws in the flat, popped up, pickable grab by Anthony Budd. Anthony Budd, one of the most dangerous cornerbacks in college football, picks up his country-leading 5th interception.
Certainly a remarkable total there for Budd, and that play was made by the corner Justin Terry. He had press coverage there, did not allow a clean release off the line of scrimmage, got his hand on that pass, deflected it in the air, and Budd just seems to have a knack for being in the right place at the right time. 5 picks, as you said, Keith, a remarkable total.
Skips Bahar, good field position from his own 45. Kenji throws left for a screen. This one to the outside for Zach Treadway. He takes it across midfield, brought down a yard shy of the first down marker.
Sudden change situation for the Wagner defense. They really need to respond after a pick near midfield.
Guerrero gets the carry, scampers ahead, dives forward, and brought down by Edward Nunez. This defense forces a 3-and-out, feels good about itself, puffs its chest out a little bit, and then, hey, we'll throw you right back into the fire.
Now, this is the part of the field where you have to be alert for Bahar taking a shot towards the end zone. He's got 5 wide receivers here.
Looks left, throws that way. Guerrero in the flat, cannot make the catch. Wagner's defense collectively takes a breath.
You could feel Monmouth trying to go tempo there. Quick handoff, got the first down following the screen pass. So this does allow Wagner to regroup a little bit. They've been playing a lot more base defense this year.
Tavon Grant not available tonight. The defensive tackle for Wagner, who had a career game last week against LIU. Number 7 is not on the field tonight for the Seahawks. Moore comes in motion. Give it to Guerrero. He bounces it out left. A lot of room. Gets a block out towards the 25. A wrestle down. Monmouth continues to move the chains after the turnover.
Nice vision on that run by Guerrero. Let his blockers set it up. Did a good job getting that final bounce to the outside to pick up first down yardage.
This from the 27. Bahar rolling right. Palms throws, has a man who scampers out of bounds. It's Terrence Green Jr. Cuts the distance in half. Gets about 5. Call it a 2nd and 5. 393 yards out of the air last time out for Bahar. They go out to Montana. They get a bye week, so they're fresh. Got some fresh bodies. And Bahar had a big week 2 weeks ago out west. 3 wide receivers set on 2nd down. Throws to the outside. Moore did not make the catch inbounds. Lonnie is by far the best weapon that Monmouth has to offer. Number 2 tonight in white. Leads the team in catches. Has 3 touchdowns. That's the most. He leads the team in all-purpose yards. He is their Mr. Everything.
And 104 yards receiving in that game against the Grizz in Montana 2 weeks ago.
Certainly no task too big. Wagner has had its eyes set on number 2 the entire week of practice. 3rd and 5 from the 22. Guerrero on the carry up the middle, slices for a few, chopped down by Chris Williams on the stop. Missing Tavon Grant, you still have Chris Williams, who many times this year has been the best player defensively on the field, stopping the run.
All 305 pounds of him, wearing number 99 tonight instead of the number 1 that he usually sports with the black Wagner uniforms on this evening, and he brings up a field goal attempt after a 3rd down stop.
37-yard attempt for Matt Mascara, righty place kicker. Snap is good, kick floating to the left side, but through to get Monmouth on the board. So a turnover for the Monmouth defense. They get the ball back, and Bahar certainly slices up Wagner a little bit here and there. Guerrero strong on the run. But the Seahawks defense still formidable to get off on 3rd down.
That's a win for the Wagner defense in my eyes when you turn the ball over after just 2 plays on offense near midfield. Okay, yes, they gave up a couple of first downs, but so far Bahar's been throwing the ball underneath. The routes have been well defended. The tackles have been immediate after the reception. One thing that could burn Wagner tonight is if they're unable to tackle Monmouth's receivers in space and allow them to get a lot of yards after the catch. Not the case so far in the first couple of series. So now you've settled into the game a little bit. The offense gets to go back out there. And this is going to be a game where Wagner will need to score. You know, they threw the ball pretty well last week. Monmouth's defense has allowed 38 points per game. They've given up 16 passing touchdowns. So Wagner's going to have to throw to win. Despite that early turnover, you got to get back on the horse with a quarterback who's more than capable of putting up some points.
So Mascara, who's been a great kicker for Monmouth, gives the Hawks a 3-0 lead. First quarter from Staten Island. A lot of Monmouth Hawks fans have traveled up the Jersey Shore. Certainly frigid down there. It's cold up here tonight, 57 degrees. It's been a wild week of weather. We'll talk about that, certainly. And Gabriel Bryan back to receive. It goes out of bounds along the far side, so Wagner's going to get great field position as Mascara kicks it out of play. It's been a wild week here on Long Island in New York. I think Tuesday was about 88, and then Wednesday it went to 58. Everybody got a cold, and here we are, 57 degrees a couple days after that.
We're all shivering in the open-air press box tonight with the windows open. Some of us brought more in the way of sweatshirts and coats than others, but The players out there in the field excited and ready to go because there's a really nice crowd here tonight on homecoming for Wagner.
After Mascara kicks it out of bounds, Wagner has it at its own 35-yard line. Alexander Stevens, an interception last time, but a ball tipped, popped up into the sky. I formation, Sikowski the fullback, Agwebu in the backfield. Handoff for Agwebu, right side, gets a block and gets pummeled by Anthony Budd. But a good run from scrimmage, the first carry of the night for Ike Agwebu. See him and Dimitri McKenzie, who's usually the leading back. Agwebu, the transfer from Maryland, still waiting for his chance to shine. He's new. Of course, Christian Alexander Stevens new, but play after play, that chemistry builds.
Only 51 rushing yards a game for Wagner this season, which is a departure from last year's ground and pound attack. They'd love to get a little bit more than that tonight and have some balance.
2nd and 7. Another for Agwebu. Pounds up the gut. Gobbled up by white uniforms across the 40 to the 41. This is a 3rd and manageable. Seahawks bring Nolan Quinlan on the field, their young sophomore tight end who's had to play a lot of snaps, and the tight end position in this offense gets a lot of love, and a lot of love built because Adam Giordano, who is normally your #1 target in the tight end position, he's still out, hoping that this week, the bye week next week, can get him back on the field. But Quinlan in the left slot, we're number 87. Keep your eye on him on 3rd down. Christian looks right under pressure, throws for Lorick, who held on to it. Good grab by Jeremiah Lorick on the right side, just enough for a 1st down.
That is how you earn the trust of your quarterback. It's 3rd down, you run your route just to the sticks. In fact, 1 more yard past that 1st down marker, you get drilled near the sideline and you hang on to the football. Lorick had a breakout game against LIU with those 11 catches, and he gets a 3rd down reception there to move the sticks.
Lorick has led this team in catches. That's his 26th catch of 2019. His first year on campus as well. From the 46, play action. Alexander Stevens throws, man open, Justice Stewart in the flat. Eludes the first tackle, gets taken down at the 44-yard line. And Alexander Stevens loving the flats here, spreading this offense as thin as he can on the Wagner side.
Really good arm strength to make that throw off play action. Couple of defenders rushing him, throwing that ball off his back foot, off balance a little bit. And that's where that natural athleticism that he brings to the table comes in handy. Great 3-sport athlete in high school, terrific arm, and threw that one right to the 44-yard line to get 10 yards and a 1st down.
He walks into this game 101 completions after 27 against LIU last week, really starting to flourish. That was a 3rd of his entire completions for the season as Agwebu gets stuffed in the backfield. Tackle for a loss. That's Nick Shoemaker. First big play defensively, outside of the interception, of course, for Monmouth.
Completely unblocked there. I'm not sure if he was a defender that Alexander Stevens was going to be asked to read, and maybe he should have kept that ball and pulled it and gone to the outside, but there was nobody in the offensive line who accounted for him.
6.5 remaining 1st quarter. Wagner down by 3. Stewart and Foye split out, and Alexander Stevens burns a timeout. Wagner wants to talk it over on 2nd down and long. Now we'll take our first break. Monmouth has put up a crooked number early in this game. Wagner's homecoming. Big drive next on NEC Front Row.
At Wagner College, we have this beautiful campus where I get to know my professors and I make great friends.
I've gotten really involved in the local community, leading theater programs. At the same time, New York City surrounds us, so I can get internships at prestigious organizations, explore cultures from all over the world.
And experience just life as a city girl.
At Wagner, I learn by doing. It's practical. It's the Wagner plan.
How do you want to be remembered?
Quick timeout taken by Wagner. First charge timeout of the first half. Alexander Stevens in the shotgun. 2nd and 14 from the Monmouth 48. Christian throws to no man's land. Foye was there in the slot. Miscommunication. Foye and Alexander Stevens actually come together to talk about that. That was dangerous. This Monmouth defense is waiting for its next interception, and that was a close one.
Yeah, they dropped the Mike linebacker Tyler Delgado into coverage, and he was right on top of where that pass was going. A little bit more available to the far side, to the field on that particular snap for Alexander Stevens, but he just locked in on his first read and was lucky he didn't turn it over.
3rd down and long. Seahawks have to get to the 34. 3 seconds on the play clock. Christian under heavy fire. Gets out of the way of it. Tip ball to line of scrimmage. Incomplete. Looking for Lorick. Great job by Christian to get out of the way of a potential sack. But that ball was tipped, and Lorick, of course, couldn't react in time. 4th down.
Speed rush from Eric Massey coming off of the left side that time, and he forced Alexander Stevens to step up in the pocket, kind of disrupted that play before it could get started.
Sylvester, a terrific punter for the Seahawks. Getting ready for his first boot of the night. Eddie Morales back to receive. Calls for the fair catch, and inside the 5. A fair catch. Why he didn't let that sucker drop, I'll never know, but little indecision from Eddie.
Yeah, Coach Kevin Callahan, I'm sure we'll chat with him when he gets back to the sideline. The rule of thumb is usually once you're inside your 10, just let it go. Definitely inside the 5. But for Sylvester, just another punt that he's dropped inside the 20, which is one of his specialties.
Happy you brought up Kevin Callahan, who is in his 27th year. He's the only coach Monmouth has ever known. He used to coach here at Wagner in the 80s under Walt Hamline. We're at Hamline Field. Walt is the athletic director. Walt was the head coach. Kevin, who's now roaming the sidelines for Monmouth, defensive coordinator, linebacker coach, recruiting coach, spent about 3 or 4 seasons on Staten Island. Another return to the island for Callahan. Guerrero gets the first carry from scrimmage. Nowhere to go. Stopped at the original line. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, 3 seasons here. This was back when Wagner was a Division III program.
Right.
And the Seahawks were 25-4-2 during that stretch.
A reputable squad.
Good head coach. His name's on the field right now, and an excellent defensive coordinator who went on to, of course, have a great run and is still having one at Monmouth.
8th most wins in FCS history among active coaches. It's an unbelievable run for Callahan, what he's built in West Long Branch, and it all began here on Staten Island. 2nd down, a short throw to the far sideline. Bahar cannot catch his buddy Lonnie Moore. So once again, the Wagner defense with some good looks sets up a 3rd and long.
A lot of one-on-one coverage here. They're putting some defenders in the box to take away the run. They're challenging the pass here, and Bahar and Lonnie Moore to sync up. And so far, that gamble's worked out well. Bahar is just 2 of 6 in this early going here. Big 3rd and long, backed up at the 4-yard line. We'll see what Monmouth comes up with.
Bahar usually throwing about 65%. That's what he's usually connecting on. 268 yards per game. 3rd down and 10. This from his 4-yard line with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Guerrero jukes left, jukes right. Gets smashed by Santoni Graham. Now Guerrero's a power runner, and Santoni Graham is a nasty man. Big hit.
Pads are popping tonight. Hey, this Wagner defense is playing hard. They're playing physically. They're fired up as they come off the field towards the sideline. And there's some energy in the crowd and on this Wagner sideline tonight. You can tell that this defense knows they're facing a prolific offensive group, and they're here to play tonight.
Ryan Costa punt, 2 feet in his own end zone. Lorick at the Monmouth 45. Once again, the Wagner defense forces a 3 and out. Good enough punt. Lorik's got some space. Goes straight ahead, kicks back, curls around to the right side. That's where he's met by the special teams unit for Monmouth. But once again, the defense propping up a potential tie or lead change for the Seahawks as Alexander Stevens gets back out there. And one thing to note, Josh DeCombre, who caught the first pass, was a little banged up, was working the sidelines with the trainer. He's back out for this drive.
DeCombre is a big-time weapon for Wagner. Certainly somebody Alexander Stevens loves to go to in the red zone too. So Wagner starting this drive in plus territory. Keep your eye on Josh DeCombre, number 3.
It's at the bottom of your screen as the Seahawks move from right to left. McKenzie in the backfield for the first time. Christian back to throw. A lot of space deep down the right sideline. One-on-one, incomplete. Christian Alexander Stevens looking to go deep down the sideline. Cannot hook up with his man.
Really turned into a back shoulder throw there. Coverage was pretty tight, and the defender got his head around and ended up playing the ball. That was Justin Terry in coverage and got a piece of it to break it up.
Gabriel Bryan, the freshman wide receiver, deep down the sideline. They tried to sneak him in. 2nd and 10. Give to McKenzie. Nowhere to go. Smashed down by the Hawks front line. Eric Massey, one of the boys in on the stop for the Hawks.
Second straight drive. Wagner's had a negative rushing play. They ran it for a loss of 4 on the prior series, got him behind the chains. They ended up punting, and now they're looking at a 3rd and 11. You might go for it on 4th down if you could get 7 or 8 here.
3 wide receivers to the left. Christian steps up, gonna run. Juking around to the 40, dives forward inside the 40-yard line. Now he gets, call it 4 or 5 yards to the 38. Here comes Sylvester to try to pin Monmouth once again. Now, Seahawks, they knew coming into this game that Monmouth is going to stop, kill the run. And they've rushed a few times, so they have committed to the passing game. And even if they're not finding anything and maybe hitting a roadblock here, give the offensive coordinators a chance to see some more of this defense, as many chances as you can.
Yeah, and take some more shots down the field. I thought that first down call was a good idea.
This one to the far corner. Nobody underneath it. And it pounds out of play. And Monmouth will have it at its own 10. 3-0 lead for the Monmouth Hawks on the road. 2:25 remaining first quarter from Hamline Field with Stu Johnson. My name is Keith Rad. Jamal Clark, our producer. Beautiful night on Staten Island. Sun is setting. Seahawks love their night games. They always get those primetime games. Home and road. Stony Brook, FAU, UConn, ESU. They've all been primetime slots for the Seahawks. Lonnie Moore comes in motion. Bahar hits him in stride. Moore out to the 15-yard line. Chopped down. Gain of 5 as they get Lonnie Moore some more touches.
A lot of different ways to get the ball in his hands. They've faked the handoff to him on the jet sweep. They've targeted him a couple of times on out routes, and that time his swing pass gets 5 yards. Just want to get an athlete the ball in space.
2nd down and 5. Bahar rolling left, under pressure. Gill all over him. Throw to the far flat. It's complete. They hit Zach Treadway to move the chains. Bahar is good. I don't think that was a design roll to the left. He had to elude and move out that way. They go quickly before the chains can even get set. They hit Treadway again, and he's met at the 34 and ripped out of bounds along the far sideline.
After they got the first down on their second series, Monmouth went tempo. They're doing it now as well after getting that initial 10 yards. slowing it down a bit. Wagner's tackled really well. I'm going to keep harping on that point. They've got to get these guys down in space. So far, so good.
2nd down and 4. Incomplete. Morris almost jumped the route. Now he's on that far sideline with Treadway, who has caught 3 passes already. Bahar loving number 80.
Did you see number 11 on defense getting the backfield there too? Cam Gill. We haven't called his name yet tonight, but he's got 9 tackles for a loss. He's a first-team All-FCS player, and pretty much every offense that comes through Grimes Hill has to account for number 11 one way or another. And he was right up in Bahar's face as he released the ball.
A 3rd down. Monmouth is 0 for 3 on 3rd down. Bahar to the far side. Guerrero's got the first for Monmouth. They hit Guerrero out of the backfield. So versatile. He's got 27 yards on the ground, and that pickup for about 6 out of the air.
Good call there. Free release the back on 3rd down, matched up on a linebacker, and a good completion for Bahar.
Room to throw over the middle. He looked for Moore. Incomplete. Moore wanted a flag. Didn't get it. Ahmad Lyons on the coverage.
Lyons either got there a shade early or he timed it perfectly, right at that midfield logo. And it looked to me as though the official that was there, the umpire, had his back to the collision as it happened, so he couldn't tell. Either way, brings up 2nd and 10. Coverage has been tight so far tonight. Keith, impressed with the Wagner secondary.
Bahar 6 for 12. Thrown for 42 yards. Screen again. Treadway tripped up. Knocked down at the 40-yard line. Seahawks defense again shows up when it needs to. A big stop along the far side. Third down and 8. "15 seconds on the game clock. We'll see if Bahar and Monmouth want to run a play on 3rd down. Five seconds now. They get Clark in motion. He'll take a final snap of the 1st quarter. Under pressure. He's hit and sacked. Cam Gill and company in on the stop. Seahawks get in the backfield and disrupt Kenji Bahar.
Tremendous job once again by this Wagner defense, turning up the heat there. Malik Johnson and company in the backfield, getting the sack and a strong end to the 1st quarter.
Monmouth 3, Wagner nothing, with the defense sharp tonight for the Seahawks. 2nd quarter on Grimes Hill is next.
Every day is a new opportunity. Every day I do something to get better. Every day is a step in my journey. Be better than you were yesterday. But not as good as you're gonna be tomorrow. Sweat the little things. Pay attention to the details. Because when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare.
I'll make the practice. Start to finish, start to finish.
We both want to win. Who wants it more?
Working like maniacs.
You want to be good. I want to be great. You get to write your next chapter. What's it gonna be?
Start of the second quarter on Grimes Hill. Hamline field homecoming for Wagner. Punt on 4th down from Monmouth. Lorick back to receive from his own 20. He's got it. Little bit of space. Cuts to the near hash and ripped down out across the 30-yard line. Here comes Christian Alexander-Stevens and the Seahawks offense. Christian tonight 3 for 7, 30 yards in the air. On the ground just 6. You've got McKenzie and Agwebu that have combined for a net of 1 yard. 5 yards was Alexander-Stevens on a run. You know, Monmouth can stop the run. Christian has been back to pass a ton already. McKenzie in the backfield, 2 wide receivers set. First down, a true handoff to McKenzie, slicing left. It's out across the 35, dives forward. Good run, best run from scrimmage for the Seahawks.
Couple of tight ends in there for Wagner on the left side of the line. They had the left tackle and the left guard block, or rather the 2 tight ends blocked down and the left tackle and left guard pulling around. So a pin and pull concept to get to the edge and get 3 yards. And they've been able to get 3 or 4 when they've run on 1st and 2nd down, but they haven't been able to really break anything more than that. So you're still getting to these 3rd downs where you're in a pretty predictable passing situation.
Stewart and DeCombre at the bottom of your screen. Christian rolls right, looks for DeCombre at the 40-yard line, makes the catch, and rolls ahead for the first down. Second time DeCombre has been hit, and they're usually for big plays with Josh. Whereas Lorick has gotten a ton of the catches, but DeCombre's your big play wideout.
And they're treating him as such. Barry was playing well off there in his corner position. They're giving those routes underneath 10 yards if Alexander-Stevens is willing to throw them and take them. So I would continue to look to DeCombre, who's matched up with Barry at the boundary again here, bottom of your screen.
Five on the play clock, first down for the 44. Handoff from McKenzie, patient, gets hit and stopped. Gain of 2 for Dimitri McKenzie, who has rushed coming into tonight 61 times for 255 yards. And I know this isn't baseball where the numbers are everything, but Ryan Fultz, who he is stepping in for, he had 271 yards in the first game. And McKenzie 255 over now a couple of games, 5 games or so.
Tough act to follow, and you know, some offensive linemen have graduated this program as well, so only 3 returning starters this year. You do have a couple of those on the O-line, but probably not the same unit overall that was here last season.
Certainly the quarterback position has gotten better for Wagner with Alexander-Stevens. He'll roll to the left side, a lot of time, throws, his wide receiver gets knocked down. No flag on the play as DeCombre ends up face first in the turf, and Hotaling can't believe it.
Jason Hotaling is irate, arms extended towards the official near the 30-yard line, and I'm certainly on his side there. There was a double A-gap blitz from Monmouth there. Christian Alexander-Stevens did a nice job to buy some time, get rid of that pass, and you just see the contact there knocking the receiver to the ground well before the ball was even in the vicinity. If nothing else, defensive holding might have happened before the ball was thrown. But either way, it should have been a first down for Wagner.
3rd and 7. The Seahawks 1 of 3 on 3rd down. Have to get across midfield. Throw to the near side. Lorick hit as he makes the catch. Where will they spot him? It's about a half a yard shy. Had to get to the 46. They're going to put him down to the 47.
Oh, that is a tough spot, Keith. That is right in front of our booth here, and I thought he was much closer to the marker and that 46-yard line than where that ball was spotted by the head linesman. I mean, he's put it on the other side of the 47, and so that is probably the difference between trying to go for it and punting, which is what Wagner will do.
Fans clamoring to go for it on 4th and short. Hotaling waves the offense off the field to bring Sylvester, the punter, out. It's a close game. The defenses have shown up. I guess Hotaling doesn't want to be overly aggressive, and now flags fly as the Seahawks move, and this will officially make the decision whether to go for it on 4th and short.
It eliminates the threat of the fake a little bit. Oh, he got a timeout in before the penalty, it looks like.
Well, maybe Hotaling will talk it over. Second used timeout of the first half. We'll take a quick one as well before the punt on NEC front row. After the timeout, Sylvester will stay out there to punt for Wagner. Didn't seem like much of a decision from Coach Haas. Jason Hotaling, who has coached against Monmouth a couple of times in his young coaching career. A lot of time left in the first half. 3-0 lead for Monmouth. And this punt hits the 12 and gets grabbed by one of the Wagner special teams player, Tashari Keith, who puts it down at the 10-yard line. And there's a couple of schools of thought there. Do you go for it on 4th and 1? It's homecoming. The crowd wants you to go for it. But Sylvester's leg, it's one of the weapons. That's why it's called special teams.
3 punts now that he's put inside the 10-yard line, and he just does it with such consistency. Makes it very hard for the Monmouth offense to get going, and Wagner is right in the middle of this football game. Really, if it weren't for the offensive turnover on Wagner's first series, we'd be all even right now.
Bahar again on first down, gives it off to Guerrero on the draw to the right. And he's met at the line of scrimmage and brought down. That was Dylan Donaldson, one of the linemen making the stop. He's had to stand in there because you lose number 7, Tavon Grant.
Losing Grant after a career week, too. You know, he had 9 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 4 TFLs last week. Big loss.
2nd and 9. Bahar under pressure. Ball's tipped. It's in and out of the hands. Just missed by Wagner. Myron Morris. He's had magnet hands all year. Couldn't clasp down. Pressure from Cam Gill and almost a pick on the backside.
Watch Cam Gill, bottom of the screen. Speed rush beats the left tackle completely. Didn't even get a hand on him. Forced that quick release on the pass, and Morris almost had a pick that could have flipped the script in this one.
3rd and long. Wagner's defense is 4 of 5 stopping Monmouth, but now in the flat along the near side. Brandon Batts is short. Wagner's defense tonight has been sensational on 3rd down. And, you know, Hotaling, another feather in his cap on a good call, apparently. Why not keep the defense, keep that hot hand on the field?
Those guys are flying around right now, and just keep revisiting how important it is to tackle in space. They got a screen out there quickly. Had a great job rallying to the football there from the Wagner defense to limit the gain to just 6 yards and to get off the field.
Punt just gotten off. This sends Lowrick back to his own 35, bobbles it, and regathers. Sigh of relief for Wagner. Lowrick backpedaling. If you've been watching the MLB playoffs the last couple days, we've seen some middle infielders going back on balls that maybe outfielders should have caught that dropped in, and Lowrick, the same deal. It was like deja vu all over again, but able to fall on his own fumble, if you will.
We saw some first basemen last night who couldn't catch the ball in the Yankee twin game as well on both sides. Let's give some credit to Colin McCreary, the punter there, too. High snap, and he got away a great punt from the shadow of his own goalpost. Wagner now setting up shop at its own 32.
Seahawks down 3-0, under 10 minutes, second quarter. Christian from his own 32. Gives it to Agwebu. He busts up the center of the defense and gets stopped at the 37. Called a gain of 5. And Wagner trying to open up the pass game, of course, but you can't just throw the ball, and you can't wave the white flag against a great run defense and a great front line for Monmouth. So as much as you can chip away, chip away.
Very balanced so far. 8 rushes, 10 passes. Two teams feeling each other out a little bit here in the second quarter.
Wagner has not won this head-to-head since 2011, but a long time. Rolling left, he's got a man open. Looks like Justice Stewart makes the catch and gets kicked out of bounds. Short gain of 2. Alexander Stevens, you wouldn't say he's a mobile quarterback, but he is pretty fleet of foot. Able to roll out left, roll out right, throw with some balance, and hit another receiver, the 4th receiver of the night.
Helps out your offensive line a little bit too when you can roll the pocket. Gives a clean passing lane to your quarterback. Now 3rd down and 3. It's one of those areas where you could throw or run. And we'll see what Wagner elects to do.
Both defenses have been great on 3rd down tonight. Wagner has converted 1 of 4. They go quickly just before the play clock hits 0. Christian goes down hard. Sacked in the backfield by Monmouth. Jordan Porter.
He was looking to get the ball to Agwebu out of the backfield there. He was looking to his left to drop it off. And that was taken away. Really no secondary target there for Alexander Stevens. If he had one, he didn't have time to find it. And he almost turned that ball over. He's got to tuck it away a little bit more. Almost a strip sack.
Sylvester punts again. This one kicks back at the 40, and Wagner able to put a stop to it at the 41. You look at last year's game and the games across the years with these two teams, you think all these punts, all these 3rd and 3 and outs, kind of shocking. The defense has been the name of the game in this game.
Yeah, well, the way Monmouth has played this year, too, you expected a high-scoring game. They were averaging 26 points a game, and they'd allowed 38 a contest. This is, I guess, a little bit more of Wagner's style of play, defensive, grind it out. But at the moment, not much going on for either offense.
Bahar throws near side complete. Again, he finds Zach Treadway. Called a gain of 6. Treadway, the big guy, 5 receptions now.
Sorry, Keith. Titus Leo nearly jumped that, too. Almost had a pick. Trying to get in front of that route. You almost feel as though the defenses are going to make a few more big plays in this game. And turnovers and limiting them could be pretty big.
Malik Johnson almost jumped. Monmouth was not ready to make the call. 6:50 left there, a second quarter. More in motion, but they give it to Guerrero up the gut. A lot of space. Gets to the 1st down marker. Across the 50 to the 49. And they will move the chains for 1st down.
Guerrero has rushed for over 100 yards in 3 of the 4 Monmouth games this year. It's been held in check so far tonight. 32 yards and 9 carries, about 3.5 yards a tote.
4 wide receivers set for Bahar. He'll throw. Looks left, steps up. He can run too. A lot of space. Gets a block from Guerrero and gets hit by Santoni Graham at the 37-yard line. And he and Graham, Bahar and Graham that is, get into it. But Bahar uses his legs to run for a 1st down. Trips left. And a flag. This, I believe, will be on Monmouth. False start. And we got to listen to Michael Davis, our referee. So Monmouth, who, they're not speeding it up every single play. They do like to move it quick, though, when you're on your heels. This will slow them down for a breath.
Yeah, when you get the 1st down, some teams like to jump the ball and try to build momentum off of that. And one of the dangers of playing with tempo is you can have miscommunication and jump early.
Tonight, Bahar 9 of 16, 55 yards in the air. Monmouth has rushed for 40 tonight. The give to Guerrero, gets a lead block, gets some space to the 35 and ripped down just near the 15-yard line. Titus Leo, the Sheep's Head Bay native from over in Brooklyn, makes the stop.
Lost his helmet in the process, has to come off the field.
Referees wanted to make sure of the spot. Everybody good to go. So Bahar looks over to his sideline along the far side. Monmouth has won 14 of the 24 meetings, and the last 5 they have dominated ever since moving from the NEC to the Big South. Picked this year to finish second in the Big South behind Kennesaw State. A lot of southern flair, as you'd imagine, in the Big South. A little different than the Jersey Shore. Guerrero nowhere to go. So third down and short. And another test for Wagner's defense that is already 4 of 5 on third down.
10th tackle for a loss this season from Cam Gill, and you'll see him on the bottom of your screen coming off the left side, chasing that play down from the backside. And he is just too quick to leave unaccounted for. They left him unblocked there because they were running away from him. Doesn't matter. He's too fast. Gets there, makes the stop, brings up third down.
Gill and Graham have had big games already. Here's more in motion on 3rd and 3. Bahar floats one. Guerrero hauls it in with one hand. Wow. Pete Guerrero. And a flag. A hold on Monmouth brings back the most dazzling play of the night.
There was a pretty good pass rush there, getting in the face of Bahar, and I think the left tackle may have been guilty of the hold there. That's Mahmoud Shabana. But as you said, what a catch by Guerrero. I mean, the coverage was great from Edward Nunez. Ball was dropped in just over his left shoulder, and he made the one-handed grab, but negated by the penalty. And now it becomes 3rd and 13.
Well, that was a great play, but not to be from Monmouth. Hawks have a 3-0 lead. This is a 3rd and 13 after a 10-yard hold. Brings him to the 41. They have to get to the 28. 4 wide receivers, a little dump-off pass to Guerrero, nowhere to go. Chris Williams. That ain't going to work. Not in Williams' world. 4th down.
Oh, they knew Wagner was going to come with the speed rush from the outside and an obvious passing down. They tried to counter it by getting a shovel pass inside, almost like a draw play, but they didn't account for number 99 holding his ground right in the middle of that line, and he makes a great stuff to bring up 4th down.
Well, hats off to both defenses on 3rd down. That's why we're 3-0 here late in the second quarter. Lorick at his own 10. Punt gets away. Not too deep. Lorick, though, waves his arm at the 15-yard line, let's call it. Wagner has 3 minutes and change. They also have 1 timeout. Try to get down the field and put some points on the board. Now, Monmouth is a team that last year averaged 30-some-odd points. Of course, you have to factor in the Big South competition that usually they perform well in. This year, you mentioned about 25, 26 points. Now, for Wagner to hold Monmouth to 3 points at the half, you'll take that any day of the week. And you're getting shut out, but maybe you don't mind it as much.
You're right in the ball game, and the 3 points that Monmouth got came on a 37-yard field goal after a short field on a turnover. So the defense has done everything well tonight for Jason O'Tallings, too.
I formation, Sikowski the fullback, Aguebu in the backfield. They'll give it to Ike. Ike's got some room, uses those speedy legs to get out across the 20-yard line. Good run to get out from a suffocating 14-yard line setup.
Well blocked there to get him on the edge. Not a between the tackles runner, more of a guy you want to get to the perimeter. Had a good first down run. At the very least here, if you're Wagner, you'd love to make this the final possession of the half because you get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. So if you could get down the field, give yourself a chance to score and use some clock here with 2.5 minutes to go, you're happy.
2nd and 2. Christian's going to throw across the middle. No can do. Looking for DeCombre. Covered well by Justin Terry. DeCombre 2 receptions for 24 yards in this first half. Not going to hook up there on 2nd down.
Has not been much available over the middle of the field for Alexander Stevens tonight. He had the one deflected pass that was a slant that led to the interception. Most of his completions have been safer throws to the outside. Here on 3rd and 2, you have that option, handing that ball off here too if you feel you've got numbers in the box to your advantage.
Fumble. Ball's loose. A scramble for it. And here comes the pile. And the head official looks like he's make the call that Wagner has it, but it'll be 4th down.
That was nearly a disaster. That was a run-pass option there, and it looked as though Alexander Stevens was a little bit indecisive in how he handled that. Ended up pulling it and looking to pass, then tried to put his head down and run, didn't secure the football, and had a fumble on the turf that could have been a real turning point in this game. Wagner fortunate to recover. Monmouth has taken a timeout here to stop the clock with 1:57 to go. Just this Wagner offense has not been able to get much rhythm in the first half.
They had Alex Brink in the backfield. Brink is one of the younger running backs on this team that does not get a lot of looks, so maybe Alexander Stevens, of course, you know you have the RPO there. Do you give it off? But then you have that last second feeling like, if I do give it to you, are you going to be able to get that first down? So a lot of indecision, like you said, at a tough time there, where you want to, on a perfect world, set up for the last drive of the half.
You're right. That's a good point, because so much of that read option is based on feeling comfortable with the running back at the mesh point and knowing when the quarterback is going to give it or pull it and having that chemistry down, and maybe that wasn't where it needed to be on that particular play.
Sylvester setting up for the punt. Eddie Morales III is back to receive at the 45. Let's see if Sylvester has a little more of that titanium boot, as the Seahawks know and love. An all-conference punter. It's a ton of protection. This turns out to be an end-over-end punt that hits the 50 and sets up with some real estate at the 45. Wagner lets it roll as long as it can to let the clock tick down to 1:47. And now Bahar with decent field position for Monmouth. Of course, Seahawks have played well defensively. They have held Bahar to 53 yards. They've sacked him once. Monmouth has rushed for 52. Monmouth has been certainly the more quote-unquote prolific offense of this half, but not by much. Defenses have come to play in the first half hour. Flag thrown. Bahar flips it to nobody. Nowhere to go. This could be a hold. And once again, we'll take a listen to Michael Davis, who does signal for the hold.
I'm telling you, Keith, Monmouth cannot block Wagner's speed rush tonight. And in a situation like this, 2-minute drill, Wagner knows a pass play is coming. They have only 2 defenders with a hand in the dirt. Those 2 ends on the outside are standing up, ready to get after the quarterback. Cam Gill got a piece of Bahar there, forced him to step up. The interior rush was there as well. That's where the hold took place. And it's going to be very hard to move the ball down the field with a pass rush like this. You got to get rid of it quick with a screen. There you go.
And they do to the far sideline. Pass is complete, but Terrence Green Jr. has nowhere to go. Wagner says the ball's loose, and they have it. And wait for the signal. The Seahawks have certainly convinced everybody in attendance that there's still a wrestling match for it, and it's Wagner football. On another big play by the Seahawks defense on homecoming.
Now that was set up by the pass rush in the prior play. Forces a screen. Wagner rallying to the football. First guy there makes the stop. Second guy rips the ball out. and then Wagner comes out of the pile with the football. Just a terrific job by this defense that has been delivering all night long, and now the offense has a chance to get on the board before halftime.
I believe it was Titus Leo on the stop. He's the first man to the benches here, who signals that he punched it out. Now here comes Alexander Stevens from the 36, gifted this field possession thanks to some great defense. Ben's getting into it on Staten Island. All day long to throw. Stewart cannot haul it in. Justice Stewart had it in his grasp. It was knocked away by Tymir Berry, and a flag is thrown. Looked like roughing the passer. So Seahawks will get a break, even though Stewart had it and lost it.
Alexander Stevens did a nice job scanning the field. His initial read was to Combre down the far side. He was well covered. He came off that. He made a great pass to Stewart. Should have had the reception. And then a late hit costs Monmouth 15 yards and puts Wagner right on the doorstep of the red zone of the 21 here.
You know you have Sylvester, who's a terrific kicker. And you don't want to put the 3 in your back pocket yet, but certainly in the best position of the night. Good chunk of time, minute 17 in the second quarter. Ryder looking for its first points of the night. Agwebu on the carry, a lot of room to run. Agwebu inside the 10, rolling forward for a Wagner first down. Ike Agwebu, the short guy, number 2. The off-speed back. Bust right up the middle.
Get another look at that there. Gets low to the ground, hiding behind those linemen. Good acceleration, gets that ball inside the 10, and Coach Hotelling now can really use some of this clock. 50 seconds left, one timeout, first and goal.
Clock running. This from the 8-yard line. The give to Agwebu. He gets toward the 5, spot him down at the 6. Now see what the Seahawks want to do. 30 seconds left. Second down, one timeout for Hotelling.
They just brought Nolan Quinlan, the tight end, in. He's a good red zone target. You're down to 20 seconds, so you got to snap the ball pretty quickly here.
Got DeCambre, Ellison, Lorick on the left side. Dozen seconds left. Pitch. Agwebu nose for the end zone, dives to the pylon. Touchdown, Wagner. Ike Agwebu gives the Seahawks the lead.
Speed option to the right side here. Alexander Stevens pitches it a little bit behind Agwebu. Does a great job to catch it on the back shoulder, turn upfield, get that ball over the pylon for the touchdown, and a huge momentum shift right before halftime.
What a job by the Wagner defense. Force the takeaway and give Christian Alexander Stevens and Ike Agwebu just a little bit of room to punch it in. Here's Sylvester for the point after. The Seahawks take the lead late in the first half. 5 seconds to go before the end of the half, and you know the Seahawks will have the ball to begin the second half, and Monmouth does not want to get this Wagner team going on homecoming night on the road in a head-to-head that you've dominated. Big strike for the Seahawks.
I am impressed with the play call there, too, because you think they're going to throw the ball there. They bring Quinlan in, who's the red zone target, and we hadn't seen that speed option look all night long. That's not something Wagner had done offensively. Alexander Stevens gets to the outside, gets rid of it quickly, and Agwebu with a couple of nice runs there after they got the ball to the doorstep of the red zone. And, you know, got to also mention that roughing the passer penalty, really a big self-inflicted wound for Monmouth. After they turned the ball over in what should have been the last possession of the half, Wagner had only one timeout. They weren't going to be able to get the ball back. Then to compound that with a personal foul penalty, and then the Seahawks do the rest to get it in the end zone.
Now with 5 seconds, anticipate a squib, something unreturnable. Lonnie Moore back to receive the kickoff. Sylvester kicking from his 35. Special teams, always iffy and more ever dangerous. They will squib it. Fielded by Monmouth and a knee taken with 4.1. And Monmouth, you never know, but you figure they just take a knee and wind down this first half. But you never know. Kenji Bahar. Wagner with a surprise strike of its own. And Bahar will take a knee. First half belongs to Wagner. The Seahawks strike in the final 10 seconds of the half to take a 7-3 lead. Ike Agwebu nuzzles his way into the end zone for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, as a great first half for the Wagner Seahawks.
One thing we mentioned early in the broadcast is that Wagner's defense playing a lot of base and not doing a lot of blitzing. Tonight, that's allowed them to take away the run. They haven't really had to commit too many resources to it. Their front seven has done a good job of that. They've covered and tackled well on the back end, and they've gotten into a lot of third and long situations and unleashed their pass rush. And I'm just so impressed with the way this Wagner defense has performed tonight. Again, if you're tuning in late, the only 3 points that Monmouth scored came after they got an interception near midfield. Wagner held them to a long field goal. And other than that, the Seahawk defense has been phenomenal tonight, unblemished upon outside of that 37-yard field goal. And the offense late got an opportunity and cashed it in. So here we are. It's a rock fight. It's a 7-3 game. It's a Wagner type of game as we hit the half.
7-3 at the break. Homecoming night on Hamline Field, Grimes Hill, Staten Island, New York. Sue Johnson, Keith Ratt will take a timeout and be back with the second half on NEC Front Row.
How do you want to be remembered? Every day is a new opportunity. Every day I do something to get better. Every day is a step in my journey. Be better than you were yesterday, but not as good as you're gonna be tomorrow. Sweat the little things. Pay attention to the details. Because when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare.
Dominate the practice. Start to finish. Start to finish.
We both want to win. Who wants it more?
Working like maniacs.
You want to be good. I want to be great. You get to write your next chapter. What's it gonna be?
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Second half from Staten Island, New York, with Stu Johnson, Keith Radd, NEC front row. Our producer tonight, the great Jamal Clark. Wagner has a 7-3 lead against Monmouth. First action on this field between these two teams since 2013. And you have kind of this return to the old stomping grounds for Monmouth. They leave the NEC, they say, well, we're going to go out and get our football team to bigger and better things. And now they come back, and Wagner says, hey, we can still stick with you.
A little bit more of an NEC-style game here. This is a banger. This is a defensive struggle so far, and Wagner ahead 7-3 in the first half. Both teams with one score. Both times it came off of a turnover created by the defense. And it feels to me, Keith, like the winner of this game will probably be the team that limits the big mistakes in the second half. Take care of the ball. Don't commit any costly penalties. An old football cliche, but it really does feel that way tonight. Wagner pushed the ball down the field a couple of times, a few long pass attempts for Alexander Stevens. I was surprised that Monmouth, with a very experienced quarterback in Kenji Bahar, who almost threw for 400 yards in his last game, really had nothing going in the first half at all. He completed 11 of 18 for just 54 yards. His longest pass was only 11 yards. And it wasn't as though he took a lot of shots that landed incomplete either. So Wagner's defense has kept him in check, and their pass rush has been more than Monmouth can handle in the first two quarters.
It's funny you talked about the mistakes. Wagner throws an interception. Monmouth goes down. Boom, kicks a field goal. Monmouth fumbles. Wagner goes down, punches it in. So it hasn't been on the cleanest of opportunities that these teams have scored. This is Gabriel Bryan opening up the second half, trying to get out into some space. He gets as far as the 12 and gets pushed back. But now the Seahawks, kind of for better or for worse, had momentum, but then lost it all there with the halftime break. Hoping to come right back out and stay hot and get these fans back on their feet where they were at the end of the first half.
Well, they got Aguebu going with the running game a little bit once they got in the red zone, and that's how they eventually scored the touchdown. He had 36 yards in the first half, 4.5 a carry, and they were finding different ways to get him the ball on the perimeter. And we'll see if they try to give him the ball a little bit here on this drive and continue that momentum on the ground.
Aguebu remains the leading back tonight. He has rushed 8 times. McKenzie just 3 in the first half. Christian throwing on first down. Pass is broken up the line of scrimmage. That's Kurt Almer knocking it down. And sets up a second down and 10 from the 12-yard line.
Those routes over the middle of the field have not been available for Wagner in this game so far. And that was an RPO quick slant, which was attached to the run play, and a lot of defenders with their hands up. Really no passing lane for Alexander Stevens. He's already thrown the one pick on a batted ball over the middle of the field, and I would be careful about running too many more of those type of pass concepts.
DeCambre Lorick and Justice Stewart, the 3 wide receivers. Option goes to Aguebu. He is stuffed. Gang tackled by Monmouth. Plenty in on the stop, including DeJuan Cooper and Anthony Budd making the stop. A little flat-footed here to start the second half.
Kurt Omar as well did a nice job squeezing down on that left side of the line. Really nowhere to go. Bringing up 3rd and long, and this is the type of play here where it's not a sexy thing to say, but you just got to be smart and take care of the ball. You're looking at 3rd and 11 here. You don't want to make a mistake backed up in your own territory. And already a flag.
This looks like a substitution infraction. 12 men in the huddle for Wagner. You saw Lorick break the huddle and just head right out the back door, and the official said, wait a second.
Yeah.
And so our official tonight, Michael Davis, makes the call and sends the Seahawks back a couple. Let's go back to the 11-yard line. Wagner has to get to the 27 to keep the drive alive on 3rd down.
First Wagner penalty of the night. Monmouth had 40 yards worth of penalties in the first half.
With 2 seconds on the play clock, handoff for Aguebu. Finds a hole but gets smothered along the near side hash. 3 and out for Wagner in the opening possession of the second half. Now holding a 7-3 lead. Now you look at that, and if you're just tuning in, second half, big game, Wagner, Monmouth, you say, well, Wagner may be a little flat, and Monmouth has a chance to strike, but both teams have gotten off the field on third down. If you've been with us from kickoff, we've been kind of like a skipping record here. Defense is great. Defense is great, and that at least stays true. Sylvester nearly had it blocked. Fair catch signaled and caught by Eddie Morales. And now a flag. Did Sylvester get knocked down? Sylvester is waving his hand, saying that he did. So roughing the kicker is the call. 15 yards and a first down for Wagner. Now the offense will come right back out on the field, and they catch a big break. Monmouth has had some costly penalties tonight.
We just talked about limiting those mistakes, whether it be turnovers or penalties. The Wagner touchdown before the half was set up by a roughing the passer penalty, and right there on third down at a mile, roughing the punter, and a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. They went for the punt block. They sent 4 guys there up against the shield, and one of them came on in and made contact with Sylvester after he'd punted the football.
Monmouth averages about 5.5 penalties a game for an average of 44 yards per game. Today, a little bit different. Throw to the flat. DeCambre squeezes it. Catch and throw between Christian Alexander-Stevens and Josh DeCambre for a second and mid.
That's really been what's available for Wagner tonight. Rolling the pocket out, short out routes like that one, or taking a shot down the sideline to DeCambre or to another receiver who can stretch the field. Those are safer passes than trying to target the middle of the field where the routes have often been jammed up, and you've got some defensive backs like Anthony Budd who are ready and waiting to make some interceptions.
Call it 2nd and 5, 34-yard line. Over the middle, not there either. Looking for Lowrick. He threw into double coverage. Christian Alexander-Stevens, we talked about it time and time again. In between the hash marks, there's no daylight there. Squeeze in those holes.
Nothing at all. And he almost had a long touchdown pass earlier in the game to Justice Stewart. I still think there's a play or two to be made down the sideline with some deep shots for Wagner's offense. They got to go back to that at some point.
Stewart, Lowrick, DeCambre, weapons at wideout. 3rd and 5. 5 on the play clock. Looking towards the middle. Lowrick has it at the hash mark. Turns upfield. First down. Jeremiah Lowrick to the 50-yard line. Lowrick makes his 3rd catch of the night.
They do a good job there. They release the back out of the backfield. Little combination route. Lowrick just sits down in the middle of the zone. Gets around one tackle, gets upfield for an extra 10 yards. So 3 receivers to that boundary side. Alexander-Stevens goes through his progression well and finds a man who's been one of his more reliable targets this year in Lowrick to get the first down and get to midfield.
1st and 10. Looking for Aguebu out of the backfield. Scampers past the first defender and out to the 45-yard line. Great catch and throw and creating some opportunity. Ike Aguebu, a breakout game already.
So let's get him the ball somehow. Speed option, get him the ball on the outside, jet sweep, get him running laterally to the edge. This time a swing pass where you get him matched up one-on-one with a defensive lineman who really does not have much of a shot at bringing him down. That was Eric Massey, the rush end, who didn't have a chance to tackle him. So 5-yard gain on first down, and you're stretching the field horizontally a little bit as well as vertically.
Pistol set up. Aguebu gets the carry up the gut. This for about 3 yards, 2.5. He was met by Eric Massey again. Who's that linebacker position. 3rd down and short. And I talked about 3rd downs all night. Neither team has had much success. There's been a grand total of 2 first downs, 1 from each side on 3rd down. Now you have a chance. And we've seen Wagner in this spot throw. And maybe a 3rd and short now is a chance to run the ball with Aguebu, who's been great.
And I noticed that Xavier Bryson is in at right tackle. At least it looks that way, number 79. They ran behind him there. Did a nice job getting some push.
Alexander Stevens keeps it, has the first down across the 35, but a flag flies. This may bring a play like this back. The umpire underneath sets up right near the linebackers, makes the call, and tells his buddy, Michael Davis, chop block called on a pair of Wagner players.
And that's on the left side of the line. It's McWhite and Gangarasa, the left tackle and the left guard. One blocking high, the other blocking the same player low. And the shame of that for Wagner is the run went to the right. So it was really away from the action, not a penalty that influenced the outcome, which was a first down. Instead, it's a 15-yard penalty, and it makes it 3rd and 17. So that really a costly penalty.
I get the big guy, Sikowski, the fullback, in. Take Quinlan, the tight end, out. Break the huddle with Ellison, Foye, Ulrich, and Agwebu in the backfield. 2 seconds on the play clock. Just get the snap off. Agwebu rushes ahead, but gets to midfield. And again, this is a situation where Wagner had to get to the 40, and couldn't do it. But, of course, you hate the moral victories. Like Agwebu has been flash of speed here on the ground, which was not available to Wagner in the first half.
Doing some good things, and had it not been for that chop block penalty, you're talking about a first down and the ball getting close to the 30-yard line of Monmouth. And even so now, you've got a chance to pin them deep. Sylvester's already dropped 3 punts inside the 10, and he'll be punting for the chance to do that again here.
Punting from the 40-yard line. Backs up Eddie Morales. He's going to rush this back and gets knocked down again inside the 10. Eddie Morales has had a couple of puzzling returns. Flag down at the 25. The line judge comes together with Davis. And here's the call. This is a hold against Monmouth on the return. So this will be half the distance to the goal. And again, that return game has been iffy tonight. They've taken a lot of risks, and they keep Morales out there, and he still wants to field the ball at the half-yard line. He'll take it out.
Yeah, he had a fair catch earlier inside the 5, and another penalty there too. This is going to drive Kevin Callahan, the head coach, nuts.
On first down, a slice job by Guerrero to get out to the 8. Gain of, call it 2. 2 or 3. On the ground, Guerrero tonight, 44 yards. 51 in total between Guerrero and Bahar. Not seen DeVell Jones yet a carry in this game. Bahar, plenty of time across the middle, slings it to Lonnie Moore, the 25, and Moore takes it to the 30. Lonnie Moore with the biggest play from scrimmage in the air for this Monmouth Hawks team.
You see Lonnie Moore running the crossing route there, got a lot of separation. Really the first time tonight we've seen him get free. And good pass protection too for Monmouth to give some time for Bahar to go through his progressions and get that ball off.
From the 31, 1st and 10. Guerrero gets it, bounces it off left. And brought down by Williams, who tracked him all the way to the 35.
Running power that time, pulling the guard. 5-yard run there, and a Wagner player down on the field.
So a player is down. We'll take a quick timeout. Early in half number 2, 7:24 remaining third quarter. Wagner 7, Monmouth 3 on NEC Front Row.
How do you want to be remembered? Every day is a new opportunity. Every day I do something to get better. Every day is a step in my journey. Be better than you were yesterday, but not as good as you're gonna be tomorrow. Sweat the little things. Pay attention to the details. Because when
Titus Leo, the injured player down for Wagner, had to be helped off the field by the training staff. But as we talk about him, it's 2nd and 6 for Monmouth, trailing 7-3, halfway through quarter number 3. Bahar on play action, under pressure, rolls left, tucks it, runs it to the 45, takes it out just prior to midfield. His biggest run. It's a Monmouth first down, and Bahar able to break free.
Makai Bruce looked like he was held that time. Look at him there as Bahar fish hooks out of the way of his pass rush and gets good yardage. Certainly the Wagner coaching staff thought there was a hold.
Bahar again under pressure. Williams had him and lost him. Bahar flips it to Guerrero, who makes the catch for a gain of 4. A lot of chaos on first down. Bahar able to sneak those slick, oiled up legs through Chris Williams, who had to buy a shoelace and couldn't bring him down.
Now those defensive linemen are coming tonight for Wagner, and it's usually just a 3 or 4 man rush, but they are in the backfield. They're forcing Bahar to hurry his reads, get rid of the ball. They brought him down for a sack once, and they are a force to be reckoned with here, and they've got to show up because the ball's in plus territory now.
2nd and 6. Bahar airs one out near sideline. Treadway does not have enough to make the catch. Treadway's name was called 5 times in the first half, 5 catches, 34 yards, the leading receiver as far as catches and yards are concerned. And another Seahawk is down. This is Cam Gill.
Yeah, Gill came in a speed rush, and they had the back, DeVell Jones, in to help the left tackle. They chipped him, and I think he got hit right around the midsection, went down on one knee. Good coverage there on that pass play, and see if Gill's able to pop back up. Obviously, that would be a big setback if he missed for a long period of time. But for Monmouth, because of the way Gill and these other defensive linemen have been playing, they really need a little bit of help in pass protection. So I would expect to see the running back stay in and try to help out and chip the rest of the way. We have a replay of that last pass rush, and you can see Gill getting hit there. This was actually a little bit earlier when he spun out of the sack and got the pass off. But, you know, it's been an impressive night for the Wagner defense. Now Gill has to come off the field here on 3rd down, so the rest of the defensive line has to step up. He did come off under his own power, which was a good sign, jogged off.
Monmouth 1 of 7, which means Wagner 6 of 7 getting off the field on 3rd down. 4 wide receivers for Kenji Bahar, Baltimore, Maryland quarterback. 3rd and 6 from the 47. Bahar cocks it, slings it, incomplete. Lonnie Moore put his hands on it, but I believe that was intended for Terrence Green, who came up the sideline, and Moore with the routes kind of bunching together. He might not have been the intended receiver.
Not great spacing there at all. Morris was in coverage, and I still thought that ball probably could have been caught by Moore if he had high pointed it, but you're right, it looked like with the height of the throw, he was probably trying to get that ball over his head. And Wagner fortunate because they didn't have great coverage on either of those 2 targets to get off the field here.
Lorick back at his own 10. Post to bang it away. Spiraling kick. And Lorick stands near it. This kick ends up in great space for Monmouth. Ball spotted at the 4. And the best punt of the night for the Monmouth Hawks. Great punt by Ryan Cost.
Been some good punting on both sides tonight.
Which is usually not a recipe for a good game. This has been a great game.
Depends what type of football you like, I guess, right?
This is the pitcher's duel of the football world. It's been this is such a great rivalry. Of course, the tie-in with Monmouth, the old NEC, Kevin Callahan, the Monmouth head coach, formerly a Wagner specialty coach, defensive coordinator, coming back home. And great storyline tonight. 7-3 Wagner. Give to Agwebu. Good spacing again for Ike Agwebu, who tonight with that rush brings him better than 45 yards from scrimmage.
Right side of this offensive line for Wagner, getting some push on these drive blocks. And I mentioned it in the last series, but Xavier Bryson, the sophomore at 6'3", 275, coming in and playing right tackle tonight. And he's doing a pretty good job firing off the ball and getting some push. And now they've got a couple of tight ends in as well.
2nd and 5. It's from the 6-yard line. Stevens rolls right, flips it to Justice Stewart, pushes off the first tackle, and dances his way free. Completion to Justice Stewart, his 3rd catch. And you talk about a drive that started at the 4. You run 2 plays and get yourself out of that nasty field position, and you get yourself a first down.
And again, passing that ball to the sideline, trying to get that ball to the perimeter has worked out much better for Wagner tonight. They've been able to run it inside a little bit in the last couple of series, and you can couple those 2 things and move the ball here. That'll get you in rhythm.
4.5 remaining 3rd quarter. No scoring in this 2nd half. High formation. Handoff Agwebu. And a loss of 1. Trying to follow his fullback, Sikowski. And Berry, number 1 on the stop.
Came on a corner blitz, and you could see him leaving a little bit early from the boundary. And the receiver was trying to tip off Alexander Stevens and have him check the run to go to the other side because he could tell that was going to get blown up, and really it had no chance once they ran it right at him. And got in there, submarine the back, made the stop in the backfield for a loss.
2nd and 11, 13-yard line. .78 yards for Christian Alexander Stevens. This one to the flat for Agwebu outside the 20. Gets close to the line to gain. And Ike Agwebu having a night. He started in the backfield. He has been the number 1 guy all night long. And he's having, again, the biggest night of his season. He came in 35 yards on the ground, 10 yards in the air, and he's blown right past both of those with a great hookup with Christian Alexander Stevens.
Get the man the ball in space. DeJuan Cooper that time was the defensive end who was tasked with trying to tackle him, and did a nice job getting past him. 3rd and short. Wouldn't be surprised if Agwebu was an option here as well.
Seahawks 2 of 9 on 3rd down. Play clock down to 5. Shotgun set. Pass batted down, intended for Quinlan. Monmouth strong. That was Daquan Grimes, a monster linebacker. Number 50 in white, knocking it down.
Trying to get that ball out to the tight end, it looked like, and it looked as though the job for Agwebu there was to get a chip block and cut the defensive lineman. Instead, he didn't really get much of him, and that pass batted down.
Seahawks to punt it. 2:44 remaining 3rd quarter. Morales comes over and tracks this punt, which goes out of bounds. See where they spot it. Not Sylvester's best. And where will they put this thing? Right around the 42. That's where they'll spot it. So Sylvester with maybe a 20-yard punt. Woof. Now, this guy is a great punter.
Now what do you expect? But I see the defensive coordinator for Wagner, Del Smith, clapping his hands, really upbeat, telling his defense, this is where you need to step up, win this game for us. And they've responded when they've been backed up a lot. This is really good field position for Monmouth, so this is a test for the Seahawk defense. They played almost a perfect game so far tonight, and they got to come through again here.
For the 41, Guerrero gets the carry out to the 35. Smothered. Dropped down by Trey Hubbard. Good run for Guerrero. Hurry up offense for the Big South's Monmouth. West Long Branch, New Jersey. 2nd and 4. Bahar throws wide open. Pass is complete and caught by Quentin Parham, the tight end. 6'4", 230 pounds. Somehow a big body like his got lost in Wagner's secondary.
That was a coverage bust there for Wagner, and they were fortunate that Nassim Barnett was there from his safety position to make that tackle. Otherwise, it would have been a touchdown.
That moves the chains. 1st and 10, 23-yard line. Moore in motion. Bahar looks to throw. Looks out for Moore on the right flat. He's got a lot of space. And he gets pummeled, but gets good yardage. About the 15-yard line. Set up a 2nd down and short. And Bahar was looking to try to go to that far pylon and just didn't have an opening.
And looking for a shot, and then has a great check down option and gets the ball to Moore with plenty of turf ahead of him.
Guerrero, wide open space. Juke, left, right, in. Touchdown, Monmouth. Pete Guerrero puts the Hawks back up. Flag flies. Possibly a taunting penalty, but the Hawks with the last laugh to take the lead.
Guerrero had been bottled up all night. This is a guy who's rushed for over 100 yards in 4 of his last 5 games, and that time the Wagner defensive line pushed off the ball, really didn't get contact with Guerrero until he got to about the 2-yard line when he dropped his shoulder and drove his way into the end zone. He'll get called for unsportsmanlike conduct after he took it into the end zone, which will back the kickoff spot up 15 yards. But obviously the biggest offensive play of the game so far for Monmouth.
And Hotaling for Wagner, the head coach, is hot right now with Michael Davis, the referee, even after the penalty flag and the extra point tacked on by Matt Mascara to give Monmouth a 10-7 lead. Pete Guerrero, who is 8th nationally in rushing per game, comes up with a go-ahead touchdown late in the 3rd quarter. This Wagner defense you talked about kind of had to step up, and sure, they're gassed right now having to do all this stepping up.
Well, that's a good point because it's not really about time of possession because both teams have gone 3 and out a lot, but it's just the number of plays and how brief the rest has been on the sideline. And again, this is FCS football, so you don't have a lot of long television timeouts. The quarter breaks aren't as long as you'd find at the FBS level, and so for the defense being asked to go back out again and again, and not just that, but also to have to defend a short field as often as they have. Taking the field with the offense having the ball at the plus 40, for example, 41 on that last drive. It takes a toll. You feel like you have to play a perfect game. They need a little bit of help here from the Wagner offense. Maybe the field position can be affected here by that penalty. It's a significant one in that Monmouth will be kicking off from the 20, so Wagner should get the ball in pretty good field position here. They need to answer. The offense needs to hold up its end of the bargain. Starts now on this drive.
You mentioned the kind of the keys to the second half here. Who's going to blink first? And even though it wasn't a turnover, but the Sylvester punt that goes only 19 yards, something you do not expect from Eric Sylvester. This pooch kick to the 35, fair catch made by Wagner. That's Alex Brink. And a chance to return it, but if anything, he'll just take the possibly extra 15 yards. Instead of starting at the 20, he'll start at the 35.
I know that these up backs are taught to do that just to avoid fumbling, but Brink's a guy who's a running back, right? And he's used to carrying the ball. That's not a tight end, a blocking tight end, or a linebacker catching that. He fair caught the ball at the 36. There was nobody within 12 to 15 yards of him. He could have taken that ball at least to the 45. I would have liked to have seen more of an effort to return that. He's going to catch the ball because they're kicking off from the 20. They're going to pop it up.
So it's officially the 36-yard line. Wagner down by 3 again. A screen set up to the far side, can't connect. Christian Alexander Stevens threw it in the vicinity of Ike Agwebu, but really nowhere close. Like the little 5'9" running back, sneaking between those big, tall trees of the offensive line, trying to lead the way, and Christian just couldn't hit him.
He's been the target right now in the second half. That's been the guy they've been trying to get the ball to. I'm still waiting to see a shot play, maybe to DeCombre or to another one of these bigger receivers down the field, and see if Alexander Stevens can stretch the defense out because they're just playing one high safety here. They're loading up the box.
Christian throws. He's got Noah Ellison on the slant. And a good grab by Ellison, his first squeeze of the night. Takes it out to the 48. Wagner needs 4 yards. Have to get to the 46. Excuse me. Caught at the 44. Have to get to the 46-yard line.
The numbers are dictating in the RPO that he throw that ball because they are really crowding the line of scrimmage. They brought a couple of extra hats that time in the blitz, and that was that rare in-breaking route that Alexander Stevens has put right on target. So a good decision and a good throw.
3rd and 3. Seahawks just 2 of 10. Christian, a lot of time, looking for help. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Hotaling calling for a hold, a defensive hold in coverage by DeJuan Cooper on Ike Agwebu, but not going to get the call. 4th down.
And he didn't see, Alexander Stevens didn't, Quinlan coming back over the middle of the field when he was open. He had some separation. Looked like he was running one of those option routes out of the slot from his tight end position. Alexander Stevens did have a lot of pressure at that point as well, being applied from the Monmouth defense. Tried to check it down to the back, and he was smothered.
And now look at this. Here's Sylvester on 4th down and 3. Maybe waiting for Monmouth to take a timeout. Maybe waiting for Wagner to take a timeout. Play clock is at 2-1. And it'll be a delay of game. Now Wagner just trying a little bit of trickery. They didn't have to waste a timeout because you take the delay of game, get moved back 5 yards, you're still going to punt it downfield.
Right. With a quarter and 23 seconds left, they figured the timeout was more valuable than the 5 yards. And I think that's one of those scenarios where you bunch them up quick and you hope to get maybe a procedural defensive penalty that would have gotten you 5 yards and a 1st down. And a good job by Monmouth. They were prepared and they stayed onside.
Sylvester's last punt went just 19 yards. Not much wind right now. This one, a beauty from Sylvester. Look at this punt. Rolling to the 10, inside the 10, still going, and down at the 7-yard line. Eric Sylvester, 19 yards, and then this one goes about 250 to Brooklyn.
A redemption story there. And how about that left turn it took right by the sideline, too? And just the spin he gets on those punts is really terrific. And that gives the defense an opportunity to rally here and make a stand after giving up a touchdown on the last series.
What a punt. 1st down and 10 from the 7. Only play of this 3rd quarter. They'll hand it off to Guerrero under 10 seconds. Takes it out to the 10. And the clock will tick down to zeros. We head to the 4th quarter. Hamline Field, homecoming night for Wagner. Seahawks trail Monmouth 10-7 on NEC Front Row.
How do you want to be remembered? Every day is a new opportunity. Every day I do something to get better. Every day is a step in my journey. Be better than you were yesterday. But not as good as you're gonna be tomorrow. Sweat the little things. Pay attention to the details. Because when opportunity knocks, it's too late to prepare.
I'll make the practice. Start to finish. Start to finish.
We both want to win. Who wants it more?
Working like maniacs.
You want to be good. I want to be great. You get to write your next chapter. What's it gonna be?
Opening up the fourth quarter on NEC front row, Kenji Bahar on second down, airing it out, looking for Lonnie Moore, incomplete. Great defense by Wagner, Darryl Malone all over the deep threat, Lonnie Moore. And we've seen a couple of medium shots. That was the biggest shot we've seen from Kenji Bahar tonight.
And I was really impressed that Wagner defended it as well as they did, because we hadn't seen Bahar stretch the field that time. Play action, max protect, deep shot, 40 yards down the field. 2 defenders right there in coverage.
Third down and 8. Monmouth has to go 90 yards. They started at the 7. This from the 10. Kenji rolling right. Looking on the cutback. Incomplete. Malone there again. Pass was intended for Terrence Green Jr. And Darryl Malone, the junior, got in coverage. Great job to jump that route.
Cam Gill brought the pressure off the edge. They forced Bahar to roll out, and the coverage really good. It's been really good all night. You can't really say enough good things about the Wagner defense. And after the great Sylvester punt, the defense does a nice job. They've worked in tandem well in all but one series this evening. And this should be a great opportunity for Wagner to answer, at least give Sylvester a chance as a field goal kicker here to tie the game after this next series.
Ryan Coast inside his own end zone. Great punt. Brings Lorick back to the 45, his own 45. Room to run, but ripped down just across midfield. If anything, again, the defense brings about a punt, and that punt brings about decent field position for the Seahawks. Cross midfield, and now Alexander Stevens, who's thrown for 94 yards. Only 47 yards in the third quarter in the air. Started to run the ball a little bit better, but haven't put that big fat drive together here in the second half.
No, and there haven't been a lot of big plays to come by. A lot of these passing yards are check downs, and guys are getting some yards after the catch.
From the 48. Handoff for Aguebu. Aguebu has a hole. 30, 25, 20 down the far sideline. Brought down inside the 15. Ike Aguebu, a career night in a Wagner uniform. First down.
Watch Xavier Bryson, the right tackle, just drive his defender off the screen almost. Huge kick-out block, big hole for Aguebu, and he runs right through it. That right side of the Wagner offensive line has been winning battles in the second half. Longest play from scrimmage for the Wagner offense, and it comes at a critical time to get in the red zone.
34 yards on the ground for Ike Aguebu. Give it to him again on first down. He muscles his way to the 10. Wagner has to get to the 4-yard line. Set up a first down and goal, so a chance to play with some toys here. You've got your weapons that you could choose from. You're in the red zone, down by 3 at home. Crowd's been a little quiet in the second half. That's because they haven't had much to really cheer for, but here you go.
Now, right now they've got an extra tight end in on the right side, and then the 3 receivers to the left, and you've been getting a lot of success running that football to the right.
Foye, Stewart, Lorick, the weapons. Christian Alexander Stevens hit at the line, looking for the pitch. He is ripped down and brought back by Nick Shoemaker. Brought back all the way to, looks close to the 15-yard line.
That was the play they ran to get the touchdown at the end of the first half. Speed option to the boundary with the quarterback Alexander Stevens and the running back Aguebu. And that time the Monmouth defense was prepared for it. Ball probably should have been pitched quickly from Alexander Stevens. He held too long, then he ran into his own blocker, tried to double back into traffic, and lost yards.
So all of a sudden you're close, and now third down and 10.
Think about the length of the field goal here, too. You want to put Sylvester in a good spot if you don't convert.
Fans getting into it, but before the snap, timeout taken by Wagner. The Seahawks take their first timeout of the second half. They want to set this thing up, and while we have the time, this is a game right now, 10-7, which again, we found ourselves in the second quarter going, is this really going to be like this all night long? Because remember last year, teams combined for 101 points, 54-47. Monmouth wins. They have won the last 5 meetings, but they've usually been, semi-barn burners. This is not quite the shades of 2002 when Wagner won 7-6. This at least looks like somewhat of a football game, but pretty shocking with some of the results we've seen over the years.
Yeah, the winning team usually is going to get into the 30s, and tonight it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It's been a game that's had a lot of physicality on the defensive end. I would give the defenses a lot of credit. It's not just that the offenses haven't executed. Coverage has been tight. Tackling has been sound. Special teams, save for a punt or two, has been really good. And it's been a physical battle. It's been a good football game. And obviously a critical spot here for Wagner, looking at a 3rd and 10, ball at the 14. And from here you really want to at least get something positive so Sylvester has a chance to tie this game up with a field goal.
Seahawks just snapped their 0-for-4 start to the season last week with a win against LIU. Here, 12:15 left, 4th quarter, 3rd and 10, down by 3. Christian has time, throws for the pylon, incomplete but a flag. Intended for Roland Foyer. In coverage was Tymir Berry, and Berry grabbed the shirt. Now we'll wait for the official call, but make no bones about it, there was a lot of contact.
Question is whether it happened in the end zone.
Yeah, it is. The 2-yard line is where Wagner has it on a 1st and goal. And once again, Monmouth finds itself with the big penalty to keep Wagner drives alive.
Yeah, they're at 81 penalty yards before that play, and that's going to push them close to 100. And that was a clear penalty. You're absolutely right. Berry is a first-team All-Big South selection as a corner last year, clearly tugging at the back of Foyer's jersey in the corner of the end zone, and Wagner set up 1st and goal.
Agwebu in the backfield. Sikowski, the fullback, providing some muscle. He moves to the left side of the line. 3 seconds on the play clock. 2 and 1. Agwebu hit as he is given the ball and pounded so hard. I saw it, you saw it. His mouthpiece went soaring into the sky.
You had to check yourself for a moment to make sure it wasn't the football or something else, but that was clearly his mouth guard. The play clock was really running down, so the defensive end there could time the snap a little bit. And he got into the backfield. That was number 55, Solomon Manning, and a really bone-crunching hit applied there to Agwebu to knock the mouthpiece out and cost Wagner 3 yards.
Now call it a loss of 3. 2nd and goal from the 5. Wagner down 10-7 in the 4th quarter. Again, the play clock ticks under 5, and this time Wagner calls a timeout. Seahawks just taking a little bit too much time figuring out what they want to do up here and relaying it down to the guys on the field to execute.
Well, this is a spot where you definitely want to be on the same page, so you hate to lose these timeouts, but this is a critical moment in the game, and you want to have everyone on the same page. I would assume you're calling in right now not only what you're running here on 2nd down, but also have an idea of what you want to use on 3rd down, assuming you get to that 3rd and 3 or fewer yards to pick up range. A lot of teams call that the blue zone when you're down there inside the 5. Have a couple of plays in mind so you can be ready for a potential 3rd and goal scenario. You've got some options, right? You got a big tight end you can go to. They've tried to get the ball in the perimeter to the back a few times. They've used a speed option to score a touchdown on a prior series. They used that earlier in this series. It was snuffed out. And then you've got an option maybe with a fade into the corner that drew a pass interference penalty earlier when they went to Foyer. He's down at the bottom of the screen right now. So there are a number of different things Monmouth has to defend.
I have not seen Josh DeCombre on the field for a long time. He's a great red zone target. He's caught 3 touchdowns to lead the team, but he's not out there right now. Now a whistle and a flag. as Lowrick came in motion. False start on Wagner. This on George Snowden, the center.
So after a timeout, your center has the wrong cadence with your quarterback, and you go back another 5 yards.
Now, after the penalty there, set up at the 2, and you get the tackle for a loss that brings it back to the 5, and then this is at now the 10-yard line after the timeout.
Play clock's at 10 right now. They haven't broken the huddle yet.
They've got to go quick. 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 and 1. Snap just in time. Alexander Stevens throws complete. Catch is made by Jeremiah Lowrick, but to the 4. So it's a gain of 6. Now you got a 3rd down and goal from the 4.
Oh, and I'm not even sure that Lowrick and Foye were both set for a full second before that ball was snapped. That was very close to being another procedural penalty, but they get back to lost penalty yardage plus a yard there. So here we go, 3rd and goal from the 4.
It has been a close your eyes type possession in the red zone for the Seahawks. Down by 3, 10 minutes and change left in regulation. Christian rolls right, has a man, touchdown Seahawks. Jeremiah Lowrick. Wagner back in front again.
They rolled the pocket to the right side. They had 3 receivers to that side of the field, and a great job from on the play design to get Lowrick open. You see he's the motion man there. Very hard to defend in man-to-man coverage. A couple of those receivers run rub routes coming in towards the middle of the field, and Lowrick able to get a clean release, and he's in for a touchdown.
Sylvester on for the extra point. Snap, hold, kick is good. Wagner back in front, 14-10 on NEC front row.
At Wagner College, we have this beautiful campus where I get to know my professors and I make great friends.
I've gotten really involved in the local community, leading theater programs. At the same time, New York City surrounds us, so I can get internships at prestigious organizations, explore cultures from all over the world,
And experience just life as a city girl.
At Wagner, I learn by doing. It's practical. It's the Wagner plan.
How do you want to be remembered? Every day is a new opportunity. Every day I do something to get better.
Jeremiah Lowrick on the touchdown reception to give Wagner a 14-10 lead. Lowrick makes the great grab, makes the touchdown catch. Seahawks 14, and the Monmouth Hawks 10. But a lot of time left, 10 minutes, 39 seconds. This Monmouth team, you know them to be a high-scoring team, but today's just been not that kind of day for either side. Defense has set the tone tonight, but what does the last 10 minutes and change have in store? Sylvester from the 35. End-over-end kick, fair catch called for inside the 10-yard line. That was Matt Castronova.
The ball be placed at the 25 by Rule.
That's right. Sometimes those always come back to surprise you. You just have to remember the new rules there.
Right. Second year they put that one in effect, trying to limit the number of kickoff returns and thus the injuries that occur on them.
So from the 25, Benji Kahar tonight 101 yards, 15-26, but a flag and a false start against Monmouth. And pretty wild, 9 penalties. It's a team that averages 5 to 6 a game, and you're here on the road as a that better conference, if you will. It's not played like themselves tonight.
Well, not only the number, but they're closing in on the century mark for penalty yards. That'll bring them up to 98. And it's coming off of a bye week as well. You really wouldn't expect them to be this sloppy.
Guerrero following a lead block takes it to the 24-yard line. Good run from Guerrero. He's got about 80 yards on the ground.
You know, I almost wonder whether there's a little bit of a letdown here. They played in front of the biggest crowd in Monmouth history 2 weeks ago in Montana. 23,000 were there at Bobcat Stadium. They lost a tight game. They have a bye week. They come play a team they maybe didn't take as seriously as they should. Now they're in a dogfight.
And that one caught by Sean Clark in space over the middle. Takes it to midfield, and now Monmouth starts to cook a little bit.
First time we've heard from Clark, who's 6'8", kind of looks like a stretch four on a basketball team. And his 10th catch of the year. Wagner player down on the field right now, but you see what a big inviting target he is, coming right over the middle, and not an easy guy to bring down either. And got to tackle him low if you're going to get him down.
He is certainly Kenji Bahar's favorite tight end. That's the 9th catch from him this season. And he's got more than 100 yards this year. One of the Wagner defensive linemen is down, getting that hamstring stretched out. But no, you said it. I mean, Monmouth goes out to Montana. It is this eye-opening experience. Big sky country, quite literally. And then the crowd here tonight's been a little smaller, but filled out. This stands on homecoming night filled out. I'm sure the parking lot was definitely jammed. Homecoming weekend, you get fix the parking a little bit. And so we've had wall-to-wall folks here on Staten Island.
Yeah, and it's just sort of an interesting game sandwiched in, between that Montana game against a ranked team and a big crowd, and then the start of all those big South Conference games that begin with Presbyterian next week for Monmouth, and Wagner's league play continuing next weekend.
Hand off Guerrero again out to the 50. Stop there, gain of 2. Second down.
Cam Gill did a nice job there. He slipped a little on the turf, but was able to grab the back by the jersey from behind and yank him down. Kept him to a 2-yard gain. He's the contained player there on that handoff, and he's having a very good night, as he so often does.
Four wide receivers set, 10 seconds on the play clock. 2nd and 8 from the 50. Monmouth now down by 4. Throw to the flat along the far side. Lonnie Moore makes the catch, gets tripped up. Takes it inside the 35. Lonnie Moore's 4th reception, leading the team in yards.
The nickel package was in there with 4 wide receivers. They got him matched up on the slot corner, or actually even on Santoni Graham, I think, and a good mismatch.
Throw out to the far flat, looking for Treadway, makes the catch and dives forward to the 30. Treadway and Moore, the 2 leading receivers tonight for Monmouth. The Hawks really moving the ball well, and it seems like they've kind of woken up a little bit. You see it in their body language. They have tried to hurry things up, but Bahar and the offense almost purposely trying to take it on their shoulders to try to right the ship. This is 2nd and 6 from the 30. Bahar going to throw. Has got Moore open in the middle of the field, who's into the end zone. Touchdown. Flag is down in the backfield on a hold. This will come back. No touchdown.
Jason O'Talling was clapping immediately before that ball was even caught. He was screaming for a hold. Here's the call.
It's a backbreaker because Moore was wide open across the middle, and that's 2 different situations. Moore wide open is a problem in and of itself, despite the fact that maybe Bahar had an extra second of time with the hold. Moore was wide open.
It does feel as though Monmouth continues to shoot itself in the foot. They get momentum going, they get a first down, and then they commit a penalty or a turnover, or they fail to block a defensive lineman, and they get off schedule. And they really have got to start overcoming some of these self-inflicted wounds.
They'll give it right to Guerrero on 2nd and 16. He busts it out to the right side, gets a great block, and it takes it inside the 30 to the 28. That was a great block on the near side. Looked like Lonnie Moore might have stepped into a Wagner defensive player trying to chase him down.
And a missed tackle there earlier in that run. Wagner's defense maybe getting a little bit tired. Sidelines trying to get them fired up here. They need to respond on third down in what could be four-down territory right here.
Homecoming night, the fans have donned out, decked out in green. Bahar rolls out, flips it to his tight end who makes the catch and scampers for a first down. It's Gene Scott. Gene Scott getting his name called for the first time tonight. First down for Monmouth. Just the second conversion in 10 opportunities on third down.
And looks like a tight end that they're going to use to block there. They bring him across the formation on play action, and then they just leak him out of the backfield. Very tough play to defend. A detached tight end, and you can use him in a lot of different ways, and that time they used him to move the chains again in the red zone.
First and 10 for the 18. A handoff to DeVell Jones. Stood up along the edge. Edward Nunez, a boy from the Bronx. Not going to happen. What a stop.
Textbook tackle there from Nunez. And that really ignited that Wagner sideline. Handoff here. You see Nunez flashes, squares him up, drives through and brings him to the turf. Short gain on the play. Hey, we're down to 6:15 to go here. This could be the critical series in this game, and Monmouth really doesn't want to settle for a field goal. I think they're going to try to put this thing in the end zone. So Wagner's defense, perhaps with a game on the line here.
2nd and 8. Bahar to throw, under pressure, rolling, uncomfortable, steps up, running, 15, 10-yard line, pushed out. Going to be close. Does he have enough for the first? Maybe a yard shy. They spotted at the 9. Needed to get to the 8. So a 3rd down and 1.
Bahar's a great athlete. He doesn't run a ton, but tonight he's gone up to 40 yards, and that was a total scramble after the pass rush disrupted the pocket. 3rd and 1. You have the option of quarterback run here as well.
Place is loud on 3rd and 1 from the 9. Wagner up 14-10. 5:30 and counting. Play clock down to 5. Down to 3. Bahar gets the snap with 1 on the play clock. Gives to Jones. And Jones has enough for the first down, but not much more than that. They will move the chains. 1st and goal coming up for Monmouth. This Wagner defense tonight has gotten off the field on 3rd down. They have forced a turnover and a stop here and there. And maybe the chance for kind of the play to seal it. It's going to have to take a big play from either side.
Here you go. 4 downs to get 7 yards. That could be your ball game right here.
So try number 1 on 1st and goal from the 7. Under 5 minutes in regulation. Bahar looking towards the middle. Picked off. Intercepted by Wagner. Ahmad Lyons saves the day. Double coverage over the middle. Ahmad Lyons comes up with the football for the Seahawks.
A ball Kenji Bahar never should have thrown. Lofts that one right into the middle of the field. 2 defenders right in position, and a tremendous stop by this Wagner defense in the end zone. They do what they've done all night long, come up with the big play when they had to do so.
Well, I'm used to the broadcasters' jinx, working usually against the broadcasters, but you say a big play is needed. Wow. There it is, Ahmad Lyons. It's been Myron Morris, usually the guy who comes up with interception after interception for this defense. But, props to Ahmad Lyons, all the way from North Carolina. Big play, but the game not over yet. 4:42 remaining in regulation. This is Alexander Stevens from the 20. Agwebu scampers through the linebackers and out to the 27 for a great gain. 7 on the ground. And Agwebu tonight, 89 yards on the ground.
So this is your 4-minute offense that you work on in practice. You want to salt the clock here and run the clock and salt the game away. And running along that right side of the line in the second half has been a good way to do so. They're getting push right now. This Wagner offensive line is showing some life. Get a couple of first downs and you can really put Monmouth on the defensive.
Monmouth does have all 3 timeouts. Wagner with 1. 2nd and 3. And Alexander Stevens waits till the play clock gets down to within 5. Agwebu dives forward, reaches out. This is going to be a close spot near the 30. Maybe an eyelash shy. It is 3rd down. 3rd and inches.
Boy, you got to be careful extending the ball out there like that, too. He's trying to get the first down, but you're putting it at risk. They're very close, Keith. You said it. It's about an eyelash. So you've got a quarterback here who is long and rangy at 6'3". Maybe he can sneak it for you. Is that something that he feels comfortable doing under center? I would think so. You could have the running back push him in the back and just get the foot or so that you need.
Monmouth has stacked the box. 3rd and 1. Big 3rd down. On the keeper, Alexander Stevens looks like he's got enough. Out to the 30. And we'll move the chains. Great run by the graduate transfer from FIU, Christian Alexander Stevens.
Quarterbacks talk about looking for that bubble, just that little bit of space after they take the initial snap from center and then just trying to surge forward. And Alexander Stevens went high that time. He didn't go low. He went up, but he, at 6'3", was able to extend that ball and get just enough yardage.
They got 3 on the board. They have a 12.
10 seconds on the play clock. Game clock to 2:30. 1st down and 10 from the 30-yard line. Hand off for Agwebu. No. Alexander Stevens held on to it. Ball's ripped out down to the turf, and it looked like Wagner recovered it. And I believe the line judge will say that Alexander Stevens was down anyway. They look like they've spotted it behind, or maybe you can't advance the ball on a fumble, but big-time miscommunication between Alexander Stevens and Ike Agwebu.
And the officials have stopped the clock here. Monmouth has taken a timeout, so that's their first. And you're right, they spotted the ball at the 31. Must have had him down before the fumble. But you're right, and that was a scary moment. Wagner's had a couple of fumbles tonight that they've been able to recover, including on a muffed punt, and another one that Alexander Stevens coughed up that the offensive line was able to fall on when Wagner was backed up in its own territory. No time for that here, so you've got to make sure you protect the ball. You know, if you use all 3 timeouts here, if you're Monmouth and you get a stop, you probably get the ball back with 1:50 or so to play after a Sylvester punt. If I'm Wagner, I'm okay with that. I sign up for that with the way my defense is playing, knowing that Monmouth would have to score a touchdown and wouldn't have the benefit of any timeout. So ball security is paramount, and I'm sure they're talking about that in the huddle right now.
And this is a game tonight where Wagner, you lose UConn, East Stroudsburg, Stony Brook, FAU. You beat LIU fairly soundly, and this is the first time that you're really holding a lead late. And this entire group, Christian Alexander Stevens, Jeremiah Lowrick, Ike Agwebu, the newcomers who are just learning to gel, now have to learn quickly. How do we win? How do we hold on to the ball quite literally with 2:13 remaining?
Big time game pressure, and let's see who steps up.
Alexander Stevens under center, 2nd and 9. Agwebu hit in the backfield, dropped for a loss of 2. And a stop defensively by the junior Eric Massey. Timeout taken by Monmouth to stop the clock at 2:09.
And I would expect nothing different on 3rd down. I think they're going to run the ball again and make Monmouth spend that last time out, and then send Sylvester out there, who's an all-conference punter and has had a pretty good day, save for 1 punt. And then ask your defense to go win the game, because that's been the formula all night long, and they've delivered. So I wouldn't risk turning this thing over here or getting too exotic.
And on the Monmouth side, they get the ball back with, let's call it minute 55. They did a good job to march down the field the last time they had it. It's in the back of your mind, and you don't want to kind of wake up Kenji Bahar after he throws a big interception that he thinks maybe cost the game. It's funny, you had Eric Sylvester with a 19-yard punt, then he comes back with a 55-yard punt. These guys that are normally tremendous, they get hit in the mouth, they want to come back and respond. I'm sure Bahar on the sidelines waiting for that chance to do that.
I'm sure he is, but his offensive line has got to pass protect because Wagner is going to be coming after him, and then they've got to do a better job of getting rid of that football quickly if they can't pass protect without holding.
There you go, 3rd and 11, 29-yard line. Do give it to Agwebu, who runs, gets stopped at the line of scrimmage to set up a 4th down. Timeout taken. That took all of 5 seconds off the board.
Well, the punt is going to be very important here, Keith. I mean, you've said it. We've seen everything from 19 yards to 55 yards out of Sylvester tonight, and he's been really reliable over the years. So this is a guy who, if you were to stack up FCS punters, this is one of the guys you'd want to have receiving the snap in this spot. He's dropped 5 inside the 20 tonight.
And that's just a stat that the computer generates. They've probably been inside the 15.
You're
these
right.
Punts.
You're right. And this will be his 10th punt, so he's had plenty of work this evening. He's earning his keep for Wagner.
Now this is a Monmouth-Wagner rivalry that has gone all the way back to the 90s. Monmouth was in the NEC, 16, 17 years or whatnot. A lot has changed between 1993 and here in 2019. But no matter what, when Monmouth was at its best, when Wagner was at its best, you always found yourself with some great games, especially lately. 1-possession games, 2-possession games, high scoring. Tonight, a little bit low scoring. This is a great night and a great job by Wagner to schedule a team like Monmouth on homecoming and really make it a nail-biting, dramatic finish. Sylvester ready to punt. Eddie Morales back to receive. Spiraling punt brings Morales back to his 28-yard line. That's where Monmouth will have it. No timeouts. Minute 58 left in the game. This is it. This is the game.
Well, all night long we've seen Wagner get good pass rush. You know Monmouth has to throw the ball here. Clock stops temporarily and a 1st down. You can work the sidelines. Can the offensive line give Bahar enough time to throw down the field and not commit penalties to get them off schedule?
4 wide receivers. Bahar looks left, chucks it to the far side for Treadway in the flat. Treadway with space, wide across the 40 and steps out of bounds at the 42. Play took about 6 to 8 seconds off the clock.
Minute 51 right now. Clock will remain stopped every time the ball goes out of bounds the rest of the way.
Guerrero in the backfield, but most likely not running. Seahawks have to watch him on a check down. Bahar looks left, throws that way. Lonnie Moore, catch, reception, 48-yard line.
Got out of bounds as well. Quick out there. And will they take a shot downfield? We saw them in the last couple of series. We saw Monmouth take a few more deep drops and long pass plays down the field. So far, we've seen a screen and a quick out. At a certain point, they've got to get 52 yards here to get in the end zone. They may have to throw one down the field.
And again, a field goal does nothing for you. You have to get into the end zone. A 14-10 game. Bahar on 2nd down, sacked in the backfield to the 40-yard line.
Cam Gill coming off the edge with a head of steam, active hands, blows right through the right tackle and makes the sack. Just a tremendous play from the FCS All-American. As you get a look at it here, the back was on that side to Chip, but he didn't help out at all. And Gill just blows right through the right tackle like he's a tackling dummy. Sends Suba to the side, makes the sack. And because there's a player down here, there's going to be a 10-second runoff here for Monmouth after he gets up. So you can't stop the clock. They don't have a timeout. So because a player is injured, they're going to have to take 10 seconds off the clock and start it when the official gives the ready for play.
Now, I think they're going to put the clock back to 1:33. I'm not sure if Hotaling took a timeout. I saw him make a gesture to the referee. I'm not sure why. Mahmoud Shabana on the ground. Now, referees will come together and talk about this. I did see Hotaling make some sort of motion to the ref. So,
well, I can't remember if there's a 10-second runoff. Does it start inside a minute, inside 2 minutes? Either way, the clock's going to start right away on the ready for play. And it was obviously a serious injury. It's not a case of trying to stop the clock, but here we go. 1:33, and it should start right now. Here we go.
A third down and 11 from the 41. 4-down territory the rest of the way. Here goes Kenji Bahar up the middle, running for the first down into Wagner territory at the 40. Now his helmet comes off, so he has to come off the field for one play. But he's signaling for a face mask, but he's not going to get it. And here comes Brandon Harris for his second snap of the season, and he's just going to spike it. Brandon Harris had no idea they were going to call on him.
Well, it was fortunate, too, that play for Monmouth came on a first down because the clock was stopped while all that was going on so they could move the sticks. And otherwise, that would have been a lot of time came off. Really back-to-back breaks. That injury saved them a ton of time. On the Cam Gill sack, that would have taken probably 20 seconds or more off the clock that never ran off.
2nd and 10 from the 40. 1:18 left. Monmouth needs a touchdown. Wagner needs to stop. Kahar rolls right, being chased by Cam Gill. Steps out of bounds at the 35. They have to get to the 30 to move the chains. 3rd down and 5. And it's all 4-down territory from here on out. 1:10 left.
And they try to go with pass plays further down the field. There's just not a lot of time for Bahar because the pass rush is getting there. It's McLeod, it's Gill, it's all those guys who've been there all night.
Another screen to the far side. Treadway in space around the edge. First down. Steps out of bounds. 1 minute, 4 seconds left.
Well blocked there on the perimeter.
Boy, that little screen, they've loved that play tonight.
I think that was little Lonnie Moore who got the block to allow that to bounce to the outside and not only get the first down, but also get out of bounds. And there's still 1:04 to go, so really plenty of time for Monmouth, even without a timeout. They've got to avoid the negative play here. The penalty and the sack has been their Achilles heel.
Treadway, 8 catches tonight. He came into the season with 3 over the first 4 games. Kahar rolling, throws more inside the 10. Makes the catch for the first down. Bahar finds Lonnie Moore, and you give Bahar just time to extend the play, and these weapons will find space. Under a minute. Bahar dropped the ball, has to fall on top of it, but he's also got to get up and get this thing rolling right again.
Self-inflicted wound moves you back to the 16. If you clock it, you lose the down here. I think you should snap it and run a play.
Wow, so that'll make it 3rd down and goal from the 16 with 36 seconds left. Wow.
I mean, it's a tough call because you want to get a play in, but you've got time, 36, 37 seconds. You can only run 3 plays left in the game anyway. I'm not sure you want to give up the down there, but that's another self-inflicted wound for Monmouth. You're driving, you just hit a big pass play, and then your quarterback drops the ball on the ground. And now you've got to get 16 yards in the last 2 plays.
Wagner defense stepped up last time down. Ahmad Lyons had an interception. Looking for Treadway. Makes the catch inside the 5. Dive for the pylon. He's short, but he got out of bounds at the 2. It was a 5-second play. 31 seconds remain in regulation. 4th down end the game.
Well, here's your ball game. They're going heavy personnel. Jason O'Talling's on the field. He's taking a timeout.
Dowling takes a timeout, rips the hat off, and starts barking at the referee tonight. Michael Davis has heard a lot of Coach Haas, and Haas knows how big this game is. He wants to win this thing more than anything in the world. He takes his final timeout. And he's still going right now with Davis, the guy in the white hat.
Well, he knew that last pass play was going to Treadway as well. I could see him on the sideline pre-snap screaming at his corner on the far side of the field, pointing that was where the ball was going to go, and he was given a lot of cushion. Treadway caught that pass, and Darryl Malone eventually shouldered him out, but it was too many yards to give up there. Now you just need one to get in the end zone. So what do? You've had a lot of trouble running the ball tonight. There hasn't been a ton there for Monmouth, but Guerrero's been their workhorse for 3 years now. It's probably going to be a run-pass option. Wagner is loaded up to try to stop the run.
Here's your ball game. 4th down. Moore goes in motion. Bahar takes the snap, throws. Moore stays on his feet and into the end zone for a touchdown. He got hit by Myron Morris. All of Staten Island thought he was going to go down. He stays on his feet and gives Monmouth the lead. Crazy tonight.
Play action, bootleg. Morris hits him probably 6 yards shy of the goal line. Wagner has tackled so well all night long. And in the biggest of spots, Morris unable to bring down Lonnie Moore, who takes it in for the touchdown.
22.6 seconds. And they had 12 men in the huddle. Kenji Bahar is still out there. He wants to make this a non-field goal game. Take a look at the replay.
By the way, at the end of this play, there's a player who took his helmet off for Monmouth. That should have been a personal foul. You can't do that. That should be 15 yards on the kickoff, which would have been a big deal, and the officials missed it.
And so they will not take the field goal. I'm very confused as to.
You see, some coaches do this. The theory is that if it gets blocked and run back, it's a tie
It's
game.
2 points.
It's just overthinking it, though, because now you're setting up a field goal to win the game. I mean, I don't understand that, but that's a new trend in football, and I'm sure they have a bunch of analytics that they can point to back it up. but I'll go back to that personal foul they didn't call there. Again, that you see that happen sometimes in moments of extreme celebration near the end of a game. Player takes his helmet off in the field, and if the officials are doing their job properly, they flag that, and they'd be kicking off from the 20 instead of the 35 here. But as it is, obviously Wagner with no timeouts is going to have a hard time getting in position to get Sylvester a chance to kick it through and win the ball game.
Myron Morris on the sideline, a bit dejected. I mean, he's run that play through his mind for the rest of the weekend. Did he hit him hard enough? Should he have wrapped up? What could he have done different? It was such a fast play, and you felt like this is it. He's got him. He's inside the 5, the 6-yard line. He hit him.
If you're Del Smith as a coordinator, you put your players in position to make that play. Everything was set up perfectly. They didn't run. They ran play action. They ran the bootleg. Morris was disciplined. He was right there to make the stop, and then just couldn't finish the play.
So here's the kickoff from Mosquera. It's a squibber, fielded at the 22 and just dropped down on it. That's where Wagner will have it with 21.9. I'll call it 22 seconds from the 22-yard line. No timeouts.
Sorry, Keith. Sylvester's long is 48 yards. So that's kind of where you need to get to. Got to get that ball to the 31 of Monmouth to give him any shot here. And really you have a couple pass plays to try to pick up a ton of yardage here without getting much on the kickoff return.
7-3 Wagner lead at the half, and Monmouth has scored late within a minute to take a 16-14 lead. Christian Alexander Stevens and Wagner, they need a miracle. Rolling right. Stops. Wasting time now, just throws it out of bounds. No flag outside the tackle box. That took 9 seconds off the game clock.
Everyone was running left in the pattern. He ends up over on the right side scrambling, and he had no chance to complete the pass to anybody.
Didn't want to run it either. There was some space up the right sideline, maybe to get just a little bit closer.
You got to think gadget play here. If you have a hook and ladder or a lateral play here with 13 seconds left, you're not going to be able to get the necessary yards for the field goal otherwise. And this may be your last play. If you're tackled in bounds without getting a first down, the game's over.
Alexander Stevens, everybody back from Monmouth. He's going to run it. Takes it to the 25-yard line. And the clock runs all the way down. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. He spikes it with .1. Here comes a flag.
Wagner did not have everyone on sides. That'll be the ball game with the time run off.
So it's a false start, 10-second runoff. And that's the game. Monmouth wins 16-14. Crazy night on Staten Island. Wagner stunned on homecoming. One of the more exciting, dramatic games of the season. The Seahawks had it, and the most crucial moment, you have a pick in the end zone. Then Morris has a potential tackle to win the game, and it just didn't happen for the Seahawks. Like that.
You feel terribly for either team that comes up short in this one, and in this case, Wagner played really hard, and their defense did such a good job all night long. The offense came through when they had to score on that last possession. Then they run the ball so they could punt it away. About a minute 50-something left on the clock. Monmouth gets it down to the 1-yard line on 4th and goal. Wagner is set up defensively to make that last stop, and a missed tackle, a touchdown, and Monmouth able to escape with a win. A really good football game, and Wagner has so much to feel good about in terms of how it played this evening, but obviously the end result is going to sting quite a lot for this Seahawks team and for head coach Jason Huntalen.
Well, Monmouth continues its winning ways. Wagner has not won since 2011. That means 6 in a row for the Monmouth Hawks, who will jump into conference play and see Presbyterian next week at home. Meanwhile, Wagner has the week off next week, and we'll see Robert Morris here on October 19th. A fun game for sure. As you mentioned, Seahawks definitely dejected on homecoming night. Been a great weekend on Staten Island. We thank you for joining us tonight on NEC Front Row. Our producer, Jamal Clark, who always does a bang-up job. He's Stu Johnson. My name is Keith Rad. You've been watching Wagner Seahawks football on NEC Front Row. Your final again, Monmouth 16, Wagner 14. And as always, see you at the next one.